Live from downtown Toronto. Holiday
Shut up in the podcast, rocking all the Hey everybody, it's Trivia Night. Live from, I don't know, we're somewhere in North America, but to the best we can tell. I will tell you that the RUD, the Rapid Unscheduled Disassembly of Starship when it landed in the Indian Ocean tonight was spectacular. If you have not seen that footage, what's incredible about it is that because of Starlink space internet, is that you had video all the way through the entire 50-minute flight from Texas to Australia. 50 minutes, that's all it took.
No
and there
shit.
was live video the entire time. Incredible stuff. So welcome, guys.
folks, I want to amplify what Sean's saying. There's actually two Americas operating now. There's Elon's and Trump's America, and then there's Edward. I mean, there's Libtard America. Okay, Libtard America is NASA. They can't accomplish anything. They do something that we did 30 years ago and celebrate it like, oh wow, look what we did. We went a few miles further or whatever. This guy catches rockets.
I know.
It's
Yeah.
really
It's
impressive.
off the charts cool. Yeah.
Really impressive.
And
Sometimes
the stock market is reacting to Elon and Trump's America, unfortunately not mainstream America. So it's actually pissing people off that the market just keeps going up and they're like, we can't pay for anything, but you'll be able to very, very soon.
Yes.
later on we can talk about the libtards in Canada, female-wise, that we were talking about months ago. We'll go in more detail later.
Is there anything else up there?
No, there's not. I'm telling you, it's scary. Well, actually, there was a handful I really enjoyed talking to, but I'm telling you, the bots and I don't even know what we can say as far as I'm going to call them up for what they are, and they really are the libtard rees, and I don't even know if you can say retards on this anymore. But I'm telling you, unbelievable stupidity. It's just it's frightening. They've taken
Edward, they're almost the modern day version of the Know Nothing Party. They don't want to know anything. They just want to scream, and
they're being taken out of their comfort zone with all these facts they're giving them about what's going on. They'll have none of it though. They won't hear anything. They just want to ignore it and just keep going right down the hole. And they don't even know that it's a hole they're going down. They're just they just don't even see the danger.
It's a doom spiral. I mean, or what they call a death spiral. They can't figure it out. Yeah. I saw something today that was really funny, and I know I'm delaying the show just one more minute, but there was a Ring camera in Georgia, I think, that picked up an image of a woman going to her car, and the message that the Ring camera sent to her phone was it was a black bear. And yes, it was an African American woman of some girth. And she went nuts. And
I know the show is delayed. We will get the trivia show off shortly. But what's funny about that is the differences in AIs and AI's ability to determine what something is by a camera. And Amazon is far, far, far behind Anthropic, Grok, some of the other models. And Amazon's I know they're way better than Apple. I get it, but like talking to an Amazon device, or I get notifications from my Ring cameras, and it'll just tell you that a black USPS truck showed up at your front door. I was like, well, a truck can't drive on my front door first, and USPS trucks are white. Amazon, why are you retarded? And then it will say, I can't answer that.
Yeah, I know.
And my comment to her was, I know it's cheaper to scream than it is to go get some Ozempic. But if you got some Ozempic, maybe they wouldn't think you were a bear.
There's definitely a man. There's definitely some. There's so many good jokes there. There's.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I'm certain that in an earlier time I would have been kicked off Twitter.
It's Friday night. We might shoot the shit later. I want to get you guys into trivia night. So all of these are multiple choice. I might change them at will just because I'm the host and the master of the trivia game.
Sure.
I am ready to begin. So
no one's going to push back at you.
So I've got two people from North America, but almost all of this is about America, the country. But Edward seems to know a fair good bit about American history, so this should be a good show.
But he's behind the Iron Curtain, so as Paul Harvey says, there's always the rest of the story, and that's what I'm for.
All right. Well, all right. First, let's go with the first question and see where this.
First question.
Like the Moors in Spain or in Florida. That's my line, man. Anyway, go ahead.
That was a good one.
That was last Friday, by the way.
I know.
So
I'm still living off it.
This is ABC. So, where is the oldest museum in North America? Albany, Charleston, or Salem, Massachusetts?
Well, you want to think.
You want me to go first? My guess would be Salem,
but I'm not going to say Salem. I'm going to say Charleston.
Ed gets a point. So Charleston, 1773. Here's what was going on with museums at the time. As British colonies, we'd been here for 150 years at that point.
Yeah.
And wealthy people, when you think of museums, wealthy people collected things from all over the world, right? All kinds of interesting pieces, whether it was art or historical or whatever. And so they would rent their collection to a museum because we didn't have the internet. We had books. Books were great, but we didn't have actual historical things to look at. And so the wealthy people would, all right, I'll rent you my collection for a year. And then some other wealthy person would do the next year. And so these were all from very, very, the AOC says the billionaires that we fought off. No, the soon to be American were already billionaires. These were their collections. So Charleston, 1773. Albany Institute of History and Art, 1791. And then Salem, Massachusetts, 1799. And the Peabody Essex Museum. All of those museums still exist today.
Well, let me just add that I'm not too surprised that I was wrong. Charleston was an impulse I had to guess. Albany, no. But the South always had a little bit of extra spending money because of slavery. And that's one reason why they were last to come around to the Revolution. Because they had more disposable income and more to lose.
I guess what I would say, though, if you look at the time period, right, it was also they were more generally Tory, which was pro. There was a Tory party in the United Kingdom at the time, in Great Britain. But remember, there was no America yet. These were British colonies still up until maybe 1799, no longer. But
yeah.
If you look at the breakout of the humans that existed in the British colonies, it was about a third Tory, a third patriot, a third people like you expect, just like today. I don't give a fuck as long as I can, have a house and someplace to live,
Right.
someplace to eat, and a job.
Yeah.
We always have those.
And that's never changed in the history of the world.
It's never right. The history of humankind, not the history of the United States. It's
Right.
My situation is fine. What's wrong with you? Yeah.
Can we use the word mankind? We don't have to say humankind, but people kind. To be politically
Edward, I'm not politically correct.
Edward, I'll say the non-robots. Or wait, should I call them the fleshies?
Yeah. Oh my God, no. I don't even like that term meat bag. I don't even like that.
The
We
carnal,
are a bag of meat.
the
I
carnal class. Yeah.
All right, number 2. What do we got for number 2 coming up?
All right. What was the original name of the city now known as York when it was a Dutch settlement? A. New Rotterdam. B. New Harlem. C. New Utrecht. Or D. New Amsterdam.
Edward, would you like to go first?
This should be an easy one.
What do you mean it should be an easy one? You're saying what was the original name of New York, the city that stands today? Its original name,
When it was settled by the Dutch.
New Rotterdam.
New Amsterdam.
1 point for JC.
Oh!
Well, everything was new in the New World. Amsterdam being a Dutch city, right? Yeah. New Amsterdam, right? That's where you get that from.
Yeah.
Peter Stuyvesant. Yeah. I
What
think he was the founder of New Amsterdam.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're tied 1-1.
That's second level shit right there.
There is bonus points awarded at the end, by the way.
Yes.
You're not getting them, but
the coolest part about this isn't you've got 30 seconds to answer. We have time to extrapolate and explain all of this for our audience. So
that's why I made him go first. I had to catch up. All right.
Okay. So your old meat computer, right?
Yeah,
with all the
my carnal computer.
The gray mane.
I've got the magic Yingling ingredients, so I'm ready. All right.
All right. What is the deepest lake in the United States? Lake Tahoe, Crater Lake, Lake Superior, or Lake Michigan?
Lake Superior. By far.
I agree.
No points awarded this round.
That's impossible. Lake Superior is the deepest, biggest lake.
It's not the deepest. Crater Lake. Crater Lake is 1,943 feet deep.
How deep?
Lake Superior is 1,333 feet deep. That's a big difference. Michigan is only 923 feet deep.
Crater Lake.
I would say that the name Crater Lake probably gave it away, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. That's not the information I got as far as what I know to be true.
I will confess to all my fans out there, I've never heard of Crater Lake. Where is it?
I don't know either. No idea. It's got to be some volcano.
It's out west. It's a crater. A crater hit
I figured it was out west, but where?
I don't even remember when I was
that's what I thought. All right.
Hold on.
It's a dead question. Not even real.
No. I mean, it's an intelligent question. I'm actually interested now.
Southern Oregon, about 60 miles northwest. Klamath Falls, 80 miles northeast of Medford.
All right.
Question to the host. Are you sure we should fact check your facts here? How do you know that?
You're more than welcome.
Because I just heard that. I just watched the show.
Edward, this one passes the smell test. It sounds right.
I'm letting it go. But it's still Lake Superior. I've always heard was the deepest lake, if not North America, the world, because of
Edward,
its depth.
Edward, it's the deepest Great Lake. Crater
I
Lake
already
It's
is
knew
the
that.
not
deepest
a
Great
great
Lake out of
lake.
the 5 Great Lakes.
Right.
That's obvious. That's why they call it Superior. We already knew that, but I'm just thinking.
Although
Anyway,
it
next.
what Superior is well known for, though, is even though it's got some very deep parts, although not nearly as deep as Crater Lake, is the massive sandbars, and that's where you get to the song "The Wreck of the Edmund
The
Fitzgerald,"
Edmund
explaining
Fitzgerald. That's exactly
how
right.
when
Not
that
only a sandbar.
that massive ship was cratering over 30-foot waves, the bow hit a sandbar and split the ship in two.
Yeah, I'll say just the high
Like
wave.
So the sandbar was only
like the
the sandbar
Titanic
was only
move,
was like 20 feet below the bow.
like the Titanic movie split the ship in half. That's right.
Yes.
Loving it. The
Well,
Titanic. I don't even
yeah,
believe any of that story.
Probably where Cameron got the idea to split the ship. Anyway,
Yeah. Number
Oh,
4.
man.
Come on. So we got no points. What's going on here?
No points on that one. Well, and
No.
our other guest that was supposed to be on, which was Trad Mom, to see if she could compete with you two guys.
he
they're having some-
may have sundowned us. So yeah.
No, Trad Mom. So Trad
Oh,
Mom
okay.
has having internet issues, so she just texted. So
She'd probably know most of the stuff. I don't know if I like this idea.
well,
I don't know.
we
You
could
think
ask-
Trad Mom ever heard of Crater Lake? I bet not.
I have
Anyway.
no idea, but she knows some pretty obscure things. I thought, why would you know that? But anyways, number 5 coming your way. What is it?
Number
Edward,
4.
That's as obscure as Donner Pass.
No.
It's one of those things that Americans kind of know about, but it isn't taught, and because it's grisly and nobody likes to think about it. But yeah, Donner Pass is.
Well, it just like Canada, but you got Canada, Russia, and America. America probably being the largest populated landmass, right? They're so huge that people who have never been there, and people who live there that have never left their county would have no idea how massive the geography of either of those 3 nations.
Yeah, agreed.
Are you guys seeing David Marcus on Twitter?
No, don't even know who the guy is.
He's a Fox News guy, but he actually seems to have some sense. And he's absolutely in league with me on watching Cornyn go down, and that's kind of his Spanish fly, and he's really enjoying the distress of the rhinos. And I got to tell you, as somebody on Fox enjoying the distress of the rhinos because they don't listen to the people, that's somebody I'm watching. Now, I've read some of his full articles. They aren't particularly well put together. I actually would like to write for the guy because, I mean, he's got an audience, and
is he current?
We could do some good. I'm trying to cultivate it to see what we can do with him.
I will get with you later now that your computer's back up so you can get a Substack started. That's where I do my best writing and get the best engagement for writing. That being said, we're on question 4.
I don't even know what Substack is, but anyways, go ahead.
It's fine.
Like I said, Edward, you're behind the information iron curtain. We will explain it all, I promise.
All right, okay, you got it.
Which president is on the $2 bill? Do you need multiple choice here?
No.
Which president is on the what dollar bill?
President.
$2.
What?
And Edward, he doesn't mean the president of China.
Well, no. Since I didn't get an immediate, I don't need a multiple choice. I'll do multiple choice. Which?
No, wait a second. I don't even know what dollar bill did you say? The
$2 bill. United States $2 bill.
The deuce. I got one the other day. I bought cigars. The guy gave me a $2 bill as change.
Well, when did they come out?
I'm
ready to answer, Sean.
In the 1800s.
I've never seen a $2 bill in the States ever. A 5 or a 1. That's all I've ever seen.
Sean, I regard this as a white flag. I'm going to say Thomas Jefferson.
Okay, give me the multiple choice. What is it?
1 point. All right. Well, I had
All right.
others for you, but it doesn't
Edward,
matter. 1
Edward,
know it's
point.
not
that-
Washington.
For that level of bafflement, you don't get to answer. Anyway, go ahead.
1 point to JC. So
All right.
we're 2-1 right now. Thomas Jefferson absolutely is on the $2 bill now, and they're still in circulation today. Edward,
Yes,
they're
they
no
are.
longer printed, but we have a lot of American currency that is still in circulation that is no longer printed, like the
the penny.
nickel.
We don't make pennies anymore. We're still swimming in them. You know, it's not a problem to get them, but they don't make them anymore.
I'm just sticking with the hundreds and the 50s. Anything else, man, I'm not interested.
They
I'm
should have.
a
Who's on the 50, Edward?
Don't know.
Andrew Jackson.
Is it Jackson?
Grant,
Who's on the 100?
Franklin.
Yes.
Some Benjamin Franklins, the hundreds. That's what we
no,
need.
I
listen,
misled you. Grant and then Franklin.
Some
The
Benjamins.
easy way to remember that, Edward, is when Ilhan Omar talks about how it's all about the Benjamins. She's talking about the $100 bill.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yep.
And she says that specifically because she blames Benjamin for being Jewish.
Exactly. Of course. That's a sin worse than death.
I don't think I didn't know Benjamin.
He's
Franklin.
one of the
When
Edward-
Ilhan Omar says it's all about the Benjamin, she's blaming the Jews with 19 O's.
right. I was going to say in homage to Sean, it's about the Jews.
Yes. That's exactly what she's trying to say, Edward.
All right.
So,
number-
I don't know how you could tie Franklin to that. What you can tie, what the comment she's making is stacks of hundreds, and that Israel is paying stacks of hundreds Benjamins to influence.
She is
It's a slap at Jewish bankers, but you know that's what she's doing. What a bitch.
She's
Anyway,
not my favorite person at all.
All right, I got. We're coming up on number 5. We currently are scored Edward 1,
I got
JC
one.
2, and a couple of failures. So, what U.S. holiday was originally called Decoration Day? And I will give you a multiple choice: Independence Day, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, or Labor Day.
Go ahead, Edward.
Did you say Memorial Day?
That's an option.
It was one?
That's an option, yeah.
That's it. That's my answer.
I agree.
All right. Everybody gets a point. So after the Civil War, the Congress declared Decoration Day, where you go and decorate the grave sites of soldiers from the Civil War. It didn't matter what side they were from. That it was just Decoration Day. Go decorate it.
Agreed.
And then it was in 1967. They decided to go ahead. Or no, sorry, it was after World War II, but it was codified by Congress in 1967 to make the change from Decoration Day to Memorial Day to also include all of the World War veterans or deceased, I should say, not veterans.
Right. Memorial Day is about the dead. Veterans Day is about the living.
Yes.
Good one. Now I can remember it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. And it gets both of those holidays, the current terms, Memorial and Veterans, gets confused. And you'll see veterans show up at Memorial Day events, and people will say, "Thank you for your service." That's the wrong day to say that. Sorry for your loss would be the correct thing.
Exactly. Or I'm humbled by your sacrifice. Something along those lines.
Yes.
And
And I know it's also a big party holiday. We're coming up on Memorial Day. I mean, the 500, the biggest spectacle in racing, greatest spectacle in racing, and then there's another race. It's some
Well,
NASCAR race
we had
in
carb day.
Charlotte.
We had carb day today. Yeah,
Did you listen to his show?
of course I did.
That was.
Sure.
I thought it was hilarious the way he was ripping everybody. The state AG.
What show?
He's
What
just
show is that?
Okay.
What am I missing?
Effing Diego.
It's a radio show we listen to that's syndicated out of Indianapolis.
Edward, Sean, on a trivia night, Sean asked Paul and I about, are we familiar with a good radio program? And
Are you
I
talking
mentioned
about
Brian Mudd, who, if Sean has listened to him, Brian Mudd is very factual and a little dry, but well versed in history and knows things, but it's Florida centric. Tony Katz is Indiana focused and Indiana centric, but he's like Rush with an edge. So you get him from 11 to 2 my time, and he's outstanding.
I like that.
He's got a bite, and his morning show, which would be what 5 to 8 your
Yeah,
time.
your time. 6 to
almost
9,
almost
right?
all Indiana, right? But I think I'm just going to call it the noon show, the rush time slot.
Right.
He's really much more focused on national and global politics, and he's good, and he's funny. And if you
He's
don't,
very
under-
funny.
you would have to understand the sarcasm of this podcast to understand his sarcasm because it's
Right.
good. It's funny. You're like,
And
holy
listen, Edward,
finger! Like, well, other people are like, I don't even know what that means. I'm like, Bazinga! Burn!
he takes the Republican Party of Indiana to task.
Good. Someone should.
In fact, at first, Sean and I were laughing about how Turning Point was feeling so full of themselves that they were going to affect the Indiana primaries, and I know Katz agreed with us that this is like, you guys don't even understand Indiana politics. But once Newsom opened up the war in redistricting California, he flipped and he went to, hey, you guys need to pay attention. You guys need to do this. And of course they ignored him because they're Republicans. I mean, that's what Republicans do. They ignore anybody who knows what they're talking about.
Well, yeah, well, we got, hopefully he's just rebooting.
I hope.
I will comment on that further.
I'm still ready to send him his Starlink.
Well, I don't even know if that's what it was, but
I bet.
I have no idea. I mean, listen, I've been doing this for years. People pop in, pop out for whatever reason. He might have needed to really poop. It just, you don't know. And look, we're calling him out because it's Friday, but typically he just moves forward through things. When you look at what Tony was saying, it's like, you know what, I wasn't for it, but you know what, it's a totally political thing to do. Now I am for it, right?
Right.
And that's what he was saying. It's like, I'm for it now. Let's absolutely, it's a political thing. It's totally lawful. It's totally constitutional. Let's do it. And then outside of that, you had a bunch of Indiana State reps get primaried. Then you get to, well, we wait for Edward to join the show again. Then you get Thomas Massey gets freaking waxed.
Roasted.
And his first comment out of the gate when he was seceding was the Jews. Really?
It's a legitimate question for someone like Nick. What happened to that guy? I mean, he went all Tucker on us. Obviously, there's Sean, and I know this isn't what we're talking about tonight, but we should talk about it soon. we're seeing a blend of neocon and America first in our foreign policy. That's what's going on. That's a true coalition.
We'll see if Edward can pop back up here. But what I see,
I know you don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but I mean,
no,
I've been
it's
thinking
not
about this,
that I
and
don't, because there's definitely good stuff that needs to be talked about here. I'm
yeah,
just seeing if Edward was able to get back up, and when he does, we'll continue with the trivia show because it's interesting, and so far we've had lots of laughs and fun. But I also look at, I really admired Thomas Massey for about 4 years,
yeah,
and then Trump ran, and
right.
Massey changed for the next 10 years. Out of his 14 years, his morals totally changed because of who the president was.
Sean, I've lost friends over this. I had Indiana rhinos as friends, and when Murdoch ran against Lugar, oh, I mean, they wrote me off. I was a bad person because I thought Murdoch winning that race was justified, and
We get you
he
back,
shouldn't.
Edward?
I'm back. Don't play with those
Anyway,
buttons, guys.
you get the idea.
Yep. Stuff we can do. Totally stuff we could do. Right now, we're going to see who's going to win this trivia night.
All right.
What is the smallest U.S. state by land area? I will
Delaware.
give you multiple choice. Connecticut, Delaware, Rhode Island, or New Jersey.
Geez, I might pick Rhode Island now, but I'm going to stick with Delaware.
I'll go with Little Rhodey.
Rhode Island. We got 4 points.
Wow. I should have
That's
stuck
why,
with it.
Edward. That's why they call it Little Rhodey.
Uh-huh. I
All
didn't
right.
know that. I never heard the nickname before.
Well, you got to imagine, like, once you move out of the New England states start getting massive. They're not these tiny little
I know.
things that would fit in,
I think it was
like,
they were the
the
first.
county of a South state, right? Like Mecklenburg County, or maybe in Indiana, Marion County. Some of these states could fit inside of. They're
Yeah.
tiny.
But they were the first ones. So
Rhode Island is smaller than Chicago, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Huh.
It is exactly 1,545 square miles. That's tiny.
yeah,
Huh.
ridiculous.
90-minute
I've never been there.
drive from.
Only been
It
there.
was the Catholic
North to south.
suburb of Massachusetts Protestantism.
What was it? I didn't know that. Is that
Mhm.
true?
Yes,
Huh.
yeah.
Is that
All
that-
the crowds,
what's that
all the
Delaware
crowds were in Pennsylvania. The WASPs were in Massachusetts, and the Catholics were in Rhode Island. That's how
Well,
it broke
and
up.
interesting, right? So the only state when they made when they were putting together the republic, the
Out of
only
the 13 colonies, I
there was
thought
one that was Catholic. Now,
Yeah.
what's interesting is you go, well, why weren't they Protestant? And I say that it's really not the question you should ask. You should focus on why was none of them want to participate in the Church of England.
Oh.
none of them. Only one of them did though.
Uh,
No,
the
the
Church of England is
Catholics
basically
and the Church of
Catholic.
England are two different governments.
I know that. I get that, but the ties to Catholicism from the Church of England are huge. It's that split between
No,
we'll take a bit of this, we'll
sorry.
take a bit of that.
The Church of England are a bunch of
Rome and
fucking
London.
heretics.
Rome and London have been
Uh,
warring for 1,000 years.
What's that?
Rome and London have been warring for 1,000 years over who was going to be the supreme church.
Well, but I'm still saying that
The
split.
British Commonwealth versus the Holy Roman Empire. Absolutely right.
I get that, but
Yeah.
It's nothing like the Protestant Reformation, though. Move against everything. You can't say the Church of England is Protestant because it absolutely, definitely is not. It's got too many Catholic undertakings or underlyings to it.
I don't disagree with the theology.
You're talking doctrine. We're talking
the theology
power.
is similar. I
right?
totally get that, but you're looking at this as churches. They're not churches; they're governments.
Right.
They are
They're
governments.
political entities. That's what they are.
Orthodox Catholicism and Church of England. I gotta say,
And
yep,
there was,
true.
and not that we're talking about him tonight, but we can talk about him anytime you want to.
Who?
There was the opening for Martin Luther with his 95 Theses on the door of the church, and the discussion of
I'm a church libertarian. Let me start another party.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he was. And he had the good fortune to run into a guy named Gutenberg.
Oh.
Hey,
One
it's
Bible.
like running into Elon Musk. All of a sudden, this guy can print Bibles, and he says, "Well, I don't want Bibles, written in Italian here. I want a German Bible." So he sits down and translates the damn thing. Sorry, Edward. And these German princes say, "Hey," they say, they say that we're all divinely created. I mean, that means this land around here is really my land and not the Pope's land. So, yeah, we like you. I mean,
Yes. No.
yeah,
There's a lot more to
here's
it
your
than just,
explanation of the Lord's
I'm not.
Prayer. That's what did it. Yeah, okay, right.
I'm not bad dogging Martin Luther. I'm not at all. What I'm pointing out is the obvious in American politics is that here I'm the libertarian. I've got the best ideas, Martin Luther.
Right.
Screw you. I'll just go with abolishing the church.
Right.
Become Lutheran. Become libertarian now. Right?
He's one of the few people that ever really went ahead and said no rules.
Yes.
Other than Christ crucified. Yeah.
Who is the one that went with no rules?
Edward, justification by faith through grace, no intercessors, personal relationship with Jesus. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, a very appealing message. I mean, I can look at Assemblies of God across the United States and I can claim them as Lutherans. I mean, they don't run the Lutheran liturgy, but that's what they think.
Justification.
And I'm also not complaining about the if you look at this from a church or from a government, I'm not beating up on the libertarians here or the Lutherans or the Assembly of God. I'm noticing the obvious of they're like, there is no leader but the holy. We should not have any of this other government structure above us in our worship of God. Now, that's what the libertarians also do with government. And you could make a strong case that that would be an awesome form of government. And I would tell you, well, in government, that leads to anarchy.
Yes, it does. But I will tell you this. The German tribes taught the Romans a really enduring lesson about individual liberty. Coming out of the Black Forest, coming down the peninsula, making war on them, and taking their women. And Sean starts talking about hybrid and inbreeding and all the rest of that. The most dynamic union in the history of Western civilization is the German warrior and the Italian woman, which created Northern Italy and that whole industrial economy in Southern Germany, Northern Italy, Bavaria, and all that. I mean, seriously.
But that's what it means, though.
It's a wonder to behold. It really is.
I want to give Edward time to rebut on whatever. We'll get to the next question if Edward doesn't want to rebut. But I want to give him time to talk.
No, I have no rebuttal to everything. I could say lots about what we just talked about. There's no need to, but I do like the history of the German and that time frame. You go to the 14, 15, 1600s. That was just wow. As far as Germany went, brutal. And yeah, what do you want to talk about? A race of people. Even today, they still have that. I don't know what you'd call it. People look at Germany as far as being all European. No, they're not. All European countries are not even close to what Germany is. So we got to get that out of the box first and make that clear.
Right. It's a built-in work ethic and industriousness. And the
It's more
fact is
thinking
that
and reasoning. Yeah, the
there's a
reasoning.
guy
It's
there's
just
a guy
good.
who tried to summarize it in a book that I can actually recommend because I read the whole thing, commuting to New York City, and it's called From Plato to NATO by David Gress. And what he's
Oh.
really upset about, I'm sorry, Sean, I just keep going, but um, what
Sounds
he's
like
upset about is that everyone refers to the Dark Ages, and then they say, "Oh, well, then one day they dug up this stuff about Greece, and then the Enlightenment." That's absolute horse shit. Okay, the fact is there was a lot of stuff going on in the Dark Ages, and a lot of it was German warriors taking Italian brides and doing the things that warriors always do, and settling land and learning how to farm and creating modern Europe, the thing that they don't even recognize anymore in Europe. Anyway, go ahead.
The correct term that is used to sound racist today, the correct term for multiculturalism was European expansion and breeding with new DNA, creating higher
Yes.
IQ humans as opposed
Right.
to tribalists like you would think of modern day Muslims. Somalia, you could look at, and we there's verified data of below 80 IQ.
I know.
So
when I talk about these things, I want to be very clear. And if you feel I'm being mean to you, I'm probably being mean to you. It's intentional. It is that when you look at the whole history of Earth and the Earth culture and the Earth movement of humans, the ones that always remain tribal, because they remained tribal, remained in a small cluster, and that small cluster had to reproduce within the same DNA pool. But the people who expanded their empires had babies with other
women,
expanded the DNA pool.
Okay, and on top of that, the smallish borders of European nations enhanced that because they constantly had to fight for survival and conquer the other people and create new technology to beat the other people, which explains why Germany ended up dominant. But what Sean is saying, and he's not going to put it in these words, is Aryan wasn't just a myth. I mean, those folks really, really put it together and understood the world better than everyone else. And our old buddy Adolf sat there and was really gross about it. But the fact is that there was a point to the idea that hybridization of the entire European continent made the Europeans more fit for warfare and economics and everything else. The British had their own version of this by sailing around the world and mating with all sorts of exotic women in different places. So, and those were the two competing forces of the time. And Sean's observations about Russia. One of the things about Russia is that with as huge of a landmass as they've had, they haven't had that. I mean, they stay mostly cloistered. And even now, David Marcus, the guy I mentioned earlier, mentions that most Americans haven't been 19 miles beyond where they were born.
Yeah, I believe that. I have witnessed a lot of that.
I'm sure Canadians are the same way. That's the same thing.
All right,
and
so
it doesn't lead to maximizing human potential.
It does not. So that brings me to, since you've never been 19 miles, well, we all have, in this current chat room, to this question: what city is the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I can do multiple choice. Memphis?
Go ahead, Edward.
Chicago, Cleveland, Nashville. Ed, I want you to get a point. Come on.
But I'm always going first. It's not Nashville.
No, it's not Nashville. All right, we eliminated that one.
What were the other ones now? The other guesses? The other answers? I couldn't remember.
Chicago and Cleveland.
Yep.
Cleveland rocks. Remember that show?
Hell yeah! We got 3 points for Edward.
Hell of it.
Hell yeah.
I agree.
Cleveland, Ohio.
It was a good show.
Cleveland, Ohio, of all places on planet Earth, is where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is, and it's a really glorious building and setup and neighborhood. And you just go Cleveland, the Rust
I
Belt.
remember the reaction of the cultural elite when they named Cleveland as the recipient city.
All right.
Actually, if you look at everything around it, even going from, I know you're not going to say the Jacksons is rock and roll or anything like that, but the musicians and stuff around the area just close to it, I could see it being a good pick, couldn't you?
I disavow. I would consider the Jackson family early rock and roll, not pop.
All right, I don't know.
And let me put this in. I've been to Cleveland. Cleveland sucks. All right, but the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is great.
It is great.
Cleveland is filled with Ukrainian dead enders. I don't want any part of it. Anyway,
I didn't mind it. I thought it was all right.
Sucks.
How long was the boat ride back across the lake?
No.
Some of the most unfriendly people you'll ever meet.
No, seriously. No, Edward. Seriously, the ferry would be the fastest way for Toronto area people to get to Cleveland.
It sure is. Cleveland. Well, even Fort Erie is not far from where I lived at that time. You know, going from what you call Turkey Point to Port Dover, it's not far to get to Fort Erie in a boat. I mean, it's quick.
Yeah,
driving all the way around.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, there's people that do it in sailboats all the time.
Oh yeah,
even speedboats. And you go, well, they wouldn't have enough gas. Yes, they would, because of the way the Lake Erie is shaped. You can go from Point America to Point Canada.
It's not far at all. I know.
60 minutes, right? So, on that, let's get to it. Let's see if we can get some more points. Which American president was the only one to serve 2 non-consecutive terms besides Trump? And he hasn't fully served 2 non-consecutive terms.
No, and they keep trying to end this one. So,
yeah. All right. So your choices are Theodore Roosevelt, old Teddy, Grover Cleveland, William Taft, which it's unbelievable how many schools are named after William Taft.
Absolutely.
An American conservative Woodrow icon. Wilson.
Woodrow.
What was the question again, Sean?
Which American president was the only one to serve 2 non-consecutive full terms? I can give you the names again if you need them.
Do the names quickly.
Teddy Roosevelt, Grover Cleveland, William Taft, Woodrow Wilson.
I didn't think Taft did 2 terms, and it was before the First World War, his term. But I'm going to go Grover Cleveland.
You're right.
So, did both of you agree on that? Did both of you get a point? We're at 5-4.
I should. I mean, I didn't interrupt and tell him, so yeah, I should.
All right. 5-4. I totally agree. What is the longest river in the United States?
The obvious. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, no, wait. If you got an answer, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Mississippi.
All right, so here are your choices. The Mississippi River, the Missouri River, the Colorado River, or the Rio Grande.
Hey, Edward, what state am I sitting in?
Missouri.
Yeah. Sorry, brother.
All right, so
Missouri. You're going to say it's the Missouri? You're going to say it's the Missouri River?
It's the Missouri River.
What's that?
It's the Missouri River by a Midwest mile, so it's 1 mile longer than the Mississippi. And it is
Missouri is longer, yeah.
It is a fork. It deltas into the Mississippi. So, 2,341 miles versus the Mississippi, 2,340 miles. The Colorado River, which California drains every
It's a
year,
piker. Yeah.
is only 1,450 miles. And then the weirdest one, you would think southern border, Rio Grande. It's
Yeah.
1,900 miles. It's not anywhere close to the
It's
Missouri.
just like somebody. It's like a bunch of Texans took a piss and they called it a river. Yeah.
It does get pretty wide in areas, but I always thought that because they call the Mississippi the Big Muddy because of how it empties out into the Gulf, I just thought, from where it started to where it ended and all the silt and everything it carried. I thought,
Edward,
sure,
I think that it's modern technology that have allowed us to measure it accurately. I think the Mississippi historically was regarded as the longest, but they figured out that it wasn't.
all right. Anyways,
Well,
that's I'm going with it.
much of steamship history, right? Modern 1800s at the time, steam engine, steamship. The Mississippi, with all of its tributaries up, including to the Ohio River, which borders Thomas Massey's home district of Kentucky for
You just can't get over it, Kenny.
against
I'm glad the guy got booted. I'm
up
absolutely
against
happy.
Cincinnati, Ohio, up all the way into Pennsylvania. Massive river, the mighty Ohio, it's called. There's a lot of big rivers that fork into the Mississippi. The biggest one, the biggest river we have, period, forks into the Mississippi, being the Missouri
Yes, it
River.
does. But it starts on the West Coast, Edward, so it gets a head start.
Well, do you think so? I don't know if anybody's aware of this. There's an actual naval port, like shipping port, in Idaho, off the river. Do you think maybe because ships can carry so much more than 53-foot trailers, we should go and build a modern U.S. canal from the port of Idaho into the Missouri so that ships can go all the way through the heartland?
So they can ship potatoes everywhere.
Shit. That's like a no-brainer. That's like a Trump project. No doubt.
Sure. All right, I'll call him tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right.
Let us know.
What is the largest U.S. state by land area?
Alaska.
I agree.
You can say Texas for once. Say something like that, but it's Alaska.
Alaska is as big as half the United States. I mean, everybody always thinks about the contiguous states, but if you take a look at an impression of Alaska on the continental U.S., it takes up half the landmass.
Yeah, it's all right. All right, so here's the square mileage.
What are the answers first? What were the multiple choice answers?
I'll give them to you with the actual.
Okay, go ahead.
Square mileage, right? So Texas is only. I know it's massive to everybody. All the Japanese bros that are listening to us that couldn't comprehend this. You could translate this into kilometers.
Never mind the kilometers.
Texas is 261,000 miles, square miles. California, big state, very big state. 155,000 miles. Alaska, 570,000 square miles.
What I thought.
Doubles the size of Texas. So when they say everything's bigger in Texas,
I know that when we look at it.
There was a guy who made a mistake. I'm pretty sure, and he bought Alaska from Russia. And they call it Seward's Folly.
Seward's Folly.
They call it Seward's Folly, and he bought the biggest landmass on Earth.
He should have while he was at it. He should have bought the rest of Siberia at the same rate.
He should have.
Should have bought our country. Did I say that out loud?
No, you guys are toast, man.
Oh, I know. Quit reminding me. I know. Yeah.
You're gonna splinter apart. I don't think there's any other way you can go. You're ungovernable. Yeah.
We're doing it. We're getting rid of this libtard. Send them to China if they think it's so much better. Just go there and live. Then, if you think it's so much, don't get me going. Next question. What's the score?
I will bring the next question. So right now we are 5-6. John has
All right.
6.
All right.
What is the longest bridge in the United States?
Covered bridge or just a bridge?
Bridge. So that's
So in
the
San
definition
Francisco,
by default. Hold on, just to be clear, bridge by default doesn't have to be covered. It's just the longest stretch of bridge in the United States: Chesapeake Bay, Lake Pontchartrain, the Mackinac, or the Golden Gate.
Golden Gate. Well, the Mackinac, I do like going over that though. It is kind of unique in its design.
We'll take Lake Pontchartrain.
So the correct answer is Lake Pontchartrain. Now let me explain the differences of this.
Sorry, Edward.
God, I hate you. I ever tell you how much I hate you?
You're not the first person who's ever said it, or at least out loud. But you're one of the few that's admitted it, if you know what I mean.
Lake Pontchartrain being in it goes to New Orleans. It's in Louisiana. Is 23.6 miles over water long.
I did hear about that too. You get so sleepy because all you're doing in the middle of it is just water. You kind of like
right, and the zipper lines, line.
I did hear about that, but I still thought the Golden Gate was weird.
Chesapeake Bay Bridge and tunnel is 17.6 miles long. And the reason there's 2 tunnels, you're on a bridge, then you go under a tunnel, then you come back up, then you go under a tunnel. What those 2 tunnels are was because we needed to bring in U.S. naval vessels without a bridge above them, so that they could sail above them. After that is the Mackinac, which you and I talked about many times over the last 5 years, is only 5 miles long. Yeah. 5 miles is still a long time, but it's not 23 miles long.
For a rickety bridge like the Mackinac, and it's still a good bridge. Don't get me wrong.
Great bridge.
It's just.
So what's even more funny? The Golden Gate is only 1.7 miles long. So we are at currently 5 points, Edward. 7 points, John.
That'll change soon.
All right. What was the first?
John's going to 8. Yeah.
What was the first national park established in the United States? Yosemite, Yellowstone, Grand Canyon, or Zion?
Zion? What's that? That's a park?
Yeah, national park.
Where is it? East Coast?
West Coast.
All right. Go ahead, John. What's your first guess, John? You go first this time. I'm sticking with Yosemite, but that's just me.
I'm going to take Yellowstone.
Really? Yellowstone is correct. He goes to 8.
He was right again, both times.
I know, Edward. You hate me, but you're actually willing to say it out loud, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, Yellowstone. I want to remember the U.S. government was still trying to figure out how they could federalize everything. Oh, I said it out loud, and so they created the National Parks Department, which is not legislated. This is where we get into the United States. We talk all the time about
this is the progressive era that Sean is talking about.
They so through regulation, which is treated as law but is not constitutional law, they created the national parks, and in doing so, they preserved land for Yellowstone in 1872. And a lot of people go, well, I don't blame them for that. And they did Yosemite in 1890. Grand Canyon wasn't, Grand Canyon was 1919, and Zion was in 1919. And you look at that and you go, great. And then that's what, if you guys remember what Trump campaigned on, he said, I'm going to open up some of this area so people can build houses.
Yeah.
He's like, why? It's not in the Constitution. is regulated by the Parks Department.
That
Who the fuck is
hasn't
the
happened
Parks
yet, though,
Department?
has it?
Who voted for the Parks Department?
Nobody
Nobody.
did. Good one.
And
I
Slick Willie, anytime they would start to make some energy progress, he'd go and idle federal land every time. He'd take a desk and they'd sit there and do a clearing in front of some rock formation or whatever. He'd put that land off limits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a typical UN
bite me.
move.
Yeah. I
United
think one of the
Nations
most
for sure.
remarkable things ever was how the energy revolution in America began happening under Barack Obama.
Yep.
Much to his chagrin, I guarantee it, but it all happened on private land.
Oh, could you
Barack
imagine?
Obama was the one that shut down the pipelines in Canada here.
Yeah, no, he did everything he could to screw us. But just like with Carter with airline deregulation, the energy revolution began under Obama and not Trump.
Yep, agreed. And you know what? Trying to stifle the economies of the North America continent is what the big plan was, not to, help the other nations up, but to take us down to their level was the plan. When they said we're going to equalize all the countries, that meant taking the top ones, us, down to their level, not bringing them up to ours. Big difference there.
Of course not, because they're the only ones that are supposed to live that way.
Of
The
course.
commoners are not supposed to.
Yeah.
But the fact is what you're tying together, Edward, is that hybridization that Sean and I were talking about, and that industriousness and that market economy that exists in the United States for those people that came here to pursue it, like Harold Hamm in energy and the rest of these guys who come up with fracking and come up with the idea that you can get oil this way, and they absolutely follow through on it, and they turn all of the central planners models on their heads. Do you hear anybody talking about peak oil anymore? Fuck no. Nobody knows what peak oil is, because oil turns out to be as renewable as sunlight.
It's super easy to go get. It's super easy to go get if you keep government regulation out of it. Super easy to go get. Super easy.
Super easy.
I would say that for decades.
As easy as pulling up to a gas pump.
Yep, I would say that for decades now. How this narrative of oil comes from dinosaurs, and they even still call it.
I still laugh at that, and I listen for the federal
That's
government.
crap.
For the federal government, for a specific city, I bought $2.2 million worth of gas for 8 years. Sorry, diesel, and about $150,000 worth of gasoline. And I would laugh with all of the companies that I was bidding this shit out to. I was like, "Hey man, I'm just like I want to call you. I'm gonna put a bid out so you guys are aware. We need some more recycled dinosaurs," and they would laugh, and they'd be like, "Okay, yeah, thanks. We'll watch for your email while I'm doing the federal money bid." And I was buying gas or diesel. It rates $2 below what you commoners paid.
Yeah.
Because I was buying it in such mass, and because I was the government. Look at me. Look, I'm not elected. I was not elected. I was employed, and I was the government.
Yep.
Do you realize how many Wall Street analysts have died on the hill of peak oil?
Uh-huh. Calling it a fossil fuel today, even what's fossil fuel? I'm thinking, why are you still calling it a ridiculous name, fossil? It doesn't even come from fossils.
Oil is a natural result of nature.
Yeah, under severe heat and carbon, you get oil. It constantly renews itself. It's like it's plentiful as water. I mean, I don't know what these boneheads are thinking.
Carbon and water are necessary for life, and you guys think you know more than the Almighty when it comes to what we need as a renewable. And I'm laughing at the idea that wind and solar are renewable. Oh, really? Those windmills, they're fantastic, man.
Oh,
I mean, as long as you don't need any whales, and solar's great as long as you don't need any land. Because once you get a hailstorm, you've got all these new Superfund sites everywhere across the United States where all those idiotic Chinese solar panels are. Look.
No. What you're misinterpreting in solar is that's 35-year-old Chinese technology. What we do because I bought a
It's
3
even
acre roof of photovoltaic panels now. So PV
Okay.
photovoltaic panels
photovoltaic. Yes.
will take they will capture energy even under the darkest of storms because they're collecting a different UV that powers them to generate power into whatever a battery or a building or whatever.
Right.
That being said, so wind is garbage. Get rid of wind. Just get
Right.
rid of it.
It should absolutely be
Solar. When
dismantled
people
today.
say solar, I'm like, holy 1980s! Can I get you a fucking Walkman?
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, seriously, PV though, and then, if you look at modern, what you could do with modern PV, drive to your local grocery store and you look up, you get out of the car, it's freaking hot in the summer, it's freaking cold or snowy in the winter, depending on where you live. But what if we just put panels of PVs above your cars and protect them, and
Well,
we collect all that energy?
you know what? It come to my attention.
No, well, and then the issue was we didn't know how to store it even 10 years ago.
Right.
Now we know how to store that energy. So when the sun turns off, now you could use the energy at night when you need it to power the lights and the HVAC systems. And so this is a thing that's already been solved. And we laugh at it. Everybody laughs at it and goes, solar shower. I'm not talking about solar. I'm talking about photovoltaic.
Okay.
And I'm talking about battery storage systems.
That's another reason why the stock market's at 50,000 and going up. Yeah, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I could say so much more about that. Wasting all this land to put these stupid solar panels on. You know, there's how many shopping malls and buildings of roofs that you could have used and just made some, in a parking lot, cover a parking lot.
Can I just, I know we're in the middle of a game show. Can I just, hold on, Edward.
I got to catch up to Jason.
I hear this argument all the time of, look at all this farmland. And then I'd say to you, we'll drive around middle America and see if anybody's farming it first. Because they're not anymore.
A lot of people.
And then you go, well, all right, I'm going to look into this more. Well, the grandpa's farming it. He's third generation farmer. His children don't want to do that. His grandchildren don't want to do that. They're like, no, thanks, Grandpa. I don't want to do it. I will not just take it out of heredity. I'm not going to take the family 7,000 acre corn farm or cattle ranch or you name it. And this is the argument. And people always make, well, you're stealing our farmland. And I will say to you, no, that was already stolen from you in the Reagan era when we offshored everything from the United States. Well, I can get into why later. So now, but I bring you back to this question. If the grandchildren, grandchildren, great-grandchildren don't want that 100,000 acre farm, what is Papa supposed to do with it? It's time for him to retire at 75.
Sell it to the American government and let them put.
The government's not buying it, but the data center will.
Right.
Or
the Chinese communists will.
Or oil speculators will.
Yes, they will.
There, I don't know, but okay. There's easier places to get oil.
You stick a plug in the ground anywhere in the United States, you're going to find first water.
Uh-huh.
Then you go deeper, you're going to find oil. This whole place is sitting on an ocean of oil.
But it's so much.
I get it. Well, how are we going to eat? You tell me. You're going you're going to be socialist. You're going to force the people who are selling off their land and retiring because their children don't want anything to do with that. They're computer programmers or they're lawyers or they're whatever they do. They're teachers or I don't know. Maybe they do yoga and they
Well,
own the yoga stuff. They don't want anything to do with that massive farming complex that Grandpa had. That's 700 acres or much more. What is Grandpa supposed to do?
well, I
Is he
can give
supposed
you I can
to
give you an
die?
interim solution.
Is he just supposed to die so it doesn't get sold to the oil people or to the AI people or to the
Oh,
I can give you an interim solution. How about you just gift it to the Afrikaner refugees that have been chased off their land by all the just booties down in down in Botswana?
I, I don't
because they're,
disagree with that.
because
That
of
I
the
don't
wouldn't be
disagree with that.
popular, but they'd know what to do with it. I know that.
Well, but if the again now you got a family, Papa and Mima, they have to retire, they have to sell. They can't
Someday they
donate it.
do. Yeah.
And what do you mean selling it to them? What do you think they're gonna? The only thing that's gonna change on the landscape is a few more grass huts. That's the only thing.
No, Edward, you don't understand. I'm talking about
No.
the white Boer Afrikaner
No,
farmers that
you're
fed
talking
South Africa. The
South
reason they have
Africa.
nothing to eat is because they've chased them all off their land and killed them.
Yeah,
All
you're
right,
talking South Africa
and
politics
Trump
now.
let 60 of them into the United States, and we finally found some asylum seekers that Democrats didn't want
They're
Yeah,
doing
because they were of the
great
wrong
too.
color.
They all have social media accounts and they're dude, they are the most thankful people I've ever seen, John.
the most
Yes,
what?
I and they're posting like, "Oh, I got a sheep herd." Like I couldn't do this. I'm just walking around my property. Here's my sheep. You know, they get their phone. They're doing the video.
Yeah,
I couldn't do this. I would literally be killed in
yeah.
South
yeah.
Africa.
In other words, I'm free to make the land pay off for me and everyone that I want to sell something to. Absolutely.
It's amazing how all and that's why I don't say, are you African American? How many white African Americans is there today? Well, there's a lot of white.
Elon,
Edward,
Elon.
Why do you say?
Elon is our favorite African
Well, there
American.
you go. Why do you say, oh, the black people are African? No, not black people are African American. Black people are still American. I mean, you can have white. Well, like I say, South Africa. A lot of white people there. Oh my gosh! And so, why are we calling them African American? Now they come to America because they pretty much got booted out, and now we have these white African Americans. I mean, the whole thing sounds silly.
But that's not good. We don't want them. We want them to go back. We want the I don't know. We want the Venezuelan gangbangers. That's what we want.
Well, you know what? We do want them to go back to South Africa because that's where all the big farms were that were produced a lot of food for the whole world, and now they're not doing anything with it. The well,
Whenever you hear the term
African
land,
people.
but listen, even though you're behind the information iron curtain,
Uh-huh.
whenever you hear the term land reform, you're against it, especially if it's in a socialist or communist nation.
You
Because
know what?
land reform is what's going on right now in the Palisades in Los Angeles. It's going on in Maui. It's
Howie,
the
yeah,
same playbook by
it is.
tyrants who
And
absolutely want to confiscate land from wage earners and from people who produce.
All right, so
exactly.
hold on. Before we could go totally wild after this. So we got a score of 7-5.
All right.
So
It's
I'm
eight to
just gonna
five.
skip ahead. We're not gonna do the rest of the questions. I'll just save them for another time, another game. Totally fine. So here's my bonus points
We're just going to
question.
declare JD the winner. All right.
Here's my bonus points question.
Not so
Get it
quick.
as close as possible as you can. Obviously, I, as the host, will decide who the winner is. Here is the question. How many U.S. territories are there And then extra bonus points. How many of those are inhabited?
3 territories, I'll say. JC,
I'll take over that.
like how much
I would
over?
say I would say 5, and inhabited might be I don't know, 15, but a lot of them aren't.
How can you only have 5 territories but 15 are inhabited?
You know what I mean?
So
The point is that my guess is 5 to not overshoot and have you give him the game, which you're trying to do.
hey,
All
wait a
right,
second.
but I think 15 of them are inhabited.
Hey, by the way, are you including like Puerto Rico and places like that as well? Or
Yeah.
U.S. territories.
I'm
So,
actually
like
we're
the
already
British would have
preemptively
called them colonies.
we're already preemptively including Nova Scotia and yeah.
Actually, they should actually.
No,
No, those
no,
big
I'm
parts
not
should go.
talking about Greenland, Venezuela, or
No,
Cuba.
but Edward, the Marianas Islands, all those the south over in the Indo-Pacific where Paul works.
Guam.
Yeah, there's a lot of territories and many of them are inhabited, but many of them are not.
All right, so I'm awarding 0 points. The answer is
That's
there
fine.
are 14
14.
American territories, 5 of which are inhabited, which would be, you'll recognize these names: American Samoa, Guam, North Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. If you would like to hear the uninhabited ones, I can give
Who
those to you.
cares? I just
Right.
needed to hold off the hard charging Canuck. That's
Yeah,
all.
so we that was a good game.
Oh, the Canadian gets
The Canuck did well, 5.
We did.
And then we got the Missourian
Yeah.
with 7 points.
You know, we got to be proud of our river.
Yeah, you actually had 8 to my 5. So, but I can catch up. I'll catch up next time.
Oh, it was 8. Yeah, you're right. It was 8. All right, here's the
going to quibble about a point or two.
So we'll do another one of these.
He did his best for you, Edward. Anyway,
well, I still didn't win, but we're going to carry this over, though. We're not finished with the score.
Wait, are you accusing me of trying to be the Jews and rigging an election?
Well, only a little bit, but yeah, nothing too overt. It was okay. It was kind of like we didn't need to shut down the machines. We just had to limit the mail-in ballots. That's all.
Even though I'm a descendant of expanded DNA from Germany and Denmark.
Yeah.
Expanded DNA even. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Did we not just talk about this 20 minutes ago?
Yeah, we did.
Expanding DNA versus tribal DNA.
Yeah. We sure
we don't want to be as cloistered as the Canucks are. You see what's happened to their women up there. Correct. It's a lack of crossbreeding with alpha males. That's what's happened, and now they have no idea what they're doing.
Oh my gosh! You know what?
Listen,
again, I can carry
you sons of bitches missed your chance in 1812, and you've been paying for it ever since.
Yep, I'm telling you, it's true. But back then, no one cared like they do today. Now everything's changed so quick, so fast. It's getting dominated every second that we're awake. Something's changing quick. Where now it's going to go full libtard communist in no time. You wait, if nothing happens soon.
No. I disagree that the timeline is accelerated. No, I don't. For Canada, so if you look at even into the War of 1812, when the White House got firebombed, you guys are still a British colony, right?
But Sean, that hasn't changed. They still are.
I know.
Right. So the timeline hasn't really accelerated yet. And so then you go back and you look at the Brits.
As far as regulations go and economy goes, everything goes. I'm going from 1970, how fast things have changed from the 70s to where we find ourselves.
Are they any different than when you look at the rest of Great Britain?
No.
What do you mean? Are we any different?
The policies.
No, they're
No.
not.
It's following, and I get it. Technically, the crown doesn't hold the power it used to because of different.
I don't know about
Right.
that.
Oh, but I will tell you, the crown holds the power it used to have in 1200 and
They
1400,
just don't want to
Edward,
tell people that, but
Edward,
it's very true.
the UK had Thatcher, but they lost it. All right, they lost momentum and they went back into the swamp.
Yeah, they did.
Canada had Preston Manning and reform, and they they Churchilled him,
Yep.
and they're in the same spot. They are.
You
I
know
mean,
what?
the left wing destroyers never stop. They
No.
never stop.
Nope. I know exactly what you mean by that, and I'm so disappointed by the lack of information we have in our own country as far as what's going on. Well, I'm almost to the point now where I'm tired of fighting it. I just want to get out, just go. I just want to leave the. Can I use the word libtard again, John?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm going to, because that's where we are today. They just have no common sense. They're so for social programs, socialism, which is communism, one step away from communism, which we all know. They don't, we do. And they won't know till it's too late. And then when they close the borders.
Well, hold on, Edward. I'm going to speak directly to you, but also obviously you said social programming, so I'll use that term.
No.
Isn't that like if you just tell everybody through their media that it's unfair, right? That somebody's a billionaire and I only make what, $10 an hour?
Gotta hate that, when everybody goes
Right,
to
but all right, but if you do that for 40 or 50 straight years, you can build a whole bunch of hatred towards that 1 billion. I don't know. Kevin O'Leary is one I can think of, but the very few billionaires you have
I mean,
in your
he's
country,
kind of a dick, but not worth hating. Yeah,
right? And how many jobs does he create in different
a
countries
ton.
with
a
his
lot.
Now we
But
can
here's why.
argue about the fact that a huge majority of the jobs that he created are in China
Yeah,
because he tries to drive
Absolutely.
down labor costs, but that's still not worth hating him. He was just playing by the rules that were set up by Bush, Scowcroft, and
And the
the Canadian.
crown.
Yeah,
but I got to tell you
And
one
the
thing,
crown.
though, about that statement you made, and it comes down to this, and this is a known fact. This is no secret. If you give everybody in the world $1 million by the end of 1 year, the top 5% will have all the money again. Because people don't know how to spend their money or what to do with money. They're stupid. So
Well, yeah, I think I
that-
get your point. Is they would go, vacation, do extravagant things, as opposed to you're saying 5%. We go, I'm starting a business.
right.
Yeah.
What you're saying, Edward, is that they would take the Fannie Willis route.
No, Fannie Willis is a liar. I would not.
No. But she sailed the 7 seas with
Well,
her beau, Nathan
I know.
Wade. Oh yeah.
Squandered
I
it.
mean, I've even got videos about it, about her in wine country and all the high life and high living that Fanny Booty put together. As she was, listen, she actually had a nickname for her junk.
Let me draw you guys back in. Obviously, the game's over, so we can talk about whatever we want. Let me draw you back into what, and I think you guys will really have some good points on this. Let's go to Thomas Massey's loss after Indiana got pummeled.
I'm glad he got the boot, though. He was a thorn in Trump's side with any type of good policy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but we have to make the observation of Trump. Still, he
called him out
above anything else, above Republicans, above Democrat, Trump has the massive pull still 11 years on the vote.
Edward, they were counting on the fact that he'd be a lame duck. I can find videos of those guys talking about don't vote for him, he'll be a lame duck. I gotta tell you, you can't be a lame duck and do what he did. You can't. I mean, you're taking Senate rhinos out back and shooting them. I mean, you know, Cassidy, Cornyn's going down, Tillis. I mean, these people are the thorns in our side that every time we're trying to advance something, one or the other of them springs a leak and sinks the ship. And American red-blooded voters are sick of it. And Trump is proving that he can exterminate their electoral chances.
This comes from
it is Liberation Day. I don't care what his poll numbers say. I don't. The point is, if you can primary out rhino senators, and I want to get Goober. I know he endorsed Goober Graham, but I want Goober's ass in South Carolina. I can't stand that fucker. All right. And the fact is, I know they booed him all across South Carolina, and there is some hope because Monday, South Carolina comes back to see if they've got enough balls to take James Clyburn out back and shoot him too, and by redistricting. And the Senate's supposed to be done with whatever they're supposed to be doing, and I think they're supposed to do it tomorrow. So I expect rhino disappointment. You always expect that, but sometimes it works.
And I didn't know
it's working.
Gerrymandering was still going on.
No. It's working more than I've ever seen it. I think Thune's going to retire. I don't imagine if he makes it through as Senate Majority Leader that he's going to try to run again. The dude has disgraced himself. I never thought I'd see anybody make Mitch McConnell look smart, but this guy is tone deaf. He has concentrated all the fire on himself, and when push comes to shove, he's got nothing. He just looks like a pretty boy loser standing there shirking responsibility, and then coming out and telling Trump, once you endorsed Paxton, oh, well, so much for the Save America Act. We're not doing anything like that. You know, we're not doing anything that you want. Oh, that's a death sentence, man.
Let me expand this. Let me ask you further and deeper. When you see Republican voters, and there was a massive sway in 2010 with the Tea Party movement. There was lots of people that were involved with it. I was. Tony Katz was a big player in the Tea Party movement.
Yeah.
Well, and it wasn't that he wasn't. It was because he saw what happened, which is the Republican Party itself struck it down because they're like, and then just a few years later, right? So 2012, Paul Ryan was able to stricken the Tea Party, and then you get to 2016, and Trump is like, hey, all right, listen, we'll just do the MAGA Party. And everyone's like, the MAGA Party is going to go away. All of these primaries, the MAGA Party is not going away. You can show me polls on CNN or Real Clear Politics or Fox News or any of the other. He's at the lowest polling point of any president ever. And I go, yeah, but he just won all of those primaries.
But here's the insight that anyone listening to this needs. No one discusses whether Trump is conservative anymore. No one. It doesn't matter.
Those definition of terms have changed anyways, and they've on purpose changed a lot of the meanings of where they are. A staunch conservative is not even what we're thinking of today. You can say, a 40-year-ago liberal would be what you'd call a conservative now.
I agree with you. I get where you're going, Edward. What I think the point is that Trump was never, and we knew this 3 times we voted for him. Trump was never a conservative.
Everyone in there was a liberal.
he was
before.
he was just a normie Democrat.
Yeah,
He wasn't
No, he
a
doesn't. He
communist.
doesn't. He's not a conservative. He wants to win.
because
Okay, so
Tulsi
no,
was, Elon
Well,
was,
and
Trump
to that
was.
point, going into 2024, he became a populist.
yes, he did.
He had to. He had to get JFK. He had to get Tulsi Gabbard. He had to get
Right.
all the.
Now
All
she's
Democrats from
gone.
before.
He
Everyone.
even
Now she's
went to the
gone. Yeah.
Libertarian Party. Said, "If you give me your vote, I will give you seats inside the cabinet." The Libertarian
Right.
Party said, "Fuck you.
Right.
We're gonna win." With
And
it.
Robert
I don't know
Kennedy
what it is.
said, "Thank you,"
Yeah.
and took the job. That's
Yeah.
right. Kennedys
We've
are corrupt, but they're not stupid.
we've discussed the leader of the Libertarian Party, anyways. Oh my gosh, what a wipe!
Well, who's the? I don't even know who the leader is now. What's funny?
Neither
By the
do
way,
they.
hold on. We have to absolutely get into this because he brought it up. There is this massive push by the podcast parties that
Yes.
Thomas Massey will run as a libertarian, which the party doesn't exist in about 20 of the 50 states. Doesn't even exist because they're so small. They can't even get on the books. That Thomas Massey could run and win as a libertarian president.
I know.
Did you see the picture that he put out on social media trying to look serious?
No.
I mean, he looked like Jeff Davis's dead lieutenant. I mean, it was hilarious.
By the way, did you guys not think that when Thomas Massey broke onto the scene, a few years ago, didn't you think he was doing things, the right way with the right votes?
No. To be clear, 14 years ago, I said this guy was interesting, and then 10 years ago, Trump said I'm running. Everything changed.
Massey lost his shit. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so he went from, definite rhino, but he's out anyway.
Well, he's a rhino now, but he went from Libertarian Tea Party to TDS.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Yeah. He got tuckered somehow. I don't know how. He just did.
Edward, you know what? People talk about this, and I have the penultimate point to make about this. This guy, who's a fiscal hawk, right? That's how he characterizes himself.
All right.
I see Sean shaking his head. He thinks he is because he always bitches about Trump's spending and how much deportations cost and all the rest of this. He's always worried about budgetary issues. When Matt Gaetz made a big mistake and put him on the Rules Committee saying, we're going to bottle up McCarthy, we're not going to let him do this shit, guess who voted yes to take the agreement that McCarthy had with Joe Biden out of the Rules Committee so he could suspend the debt ceiling for 2 full years?
You're kidding me.
That's Thomas Massey.
That's Thomas Massey.
Yes. Yeah, not one.
And if I sound angry about that, I most certainly am. I hate being lied to.
I'm not angry. I listen. This is a celebration for me that we finally got a libertarian out that claims. My issue with the libertarians, I want to be very.
And Paul is next. Yeah.
Very, very clear is that they are neither Republicans or Democrats, but they choose a party to run along because they can't run in their own party because it's so small in their following. They can't get enough signatures to get on the ballot in their states, or even at the state level. There's been some states. Indiana had a guy that ran for governor that got on the ballot. He did a really good job. It didn't work out for him, but he got a pretty good percentage of the vote. Is that the party is so tiny in the amount of people that actually are libertarians there's nothing they can do. It's no different than you think about the Green Party or the like all these others tiny parties that we have. Right, everyone wants to have a party. They want to feel connected. But
I,
listen,
I got
then it gets into hold on. Then it gets into all of the don't listen to all the social media outrage because there's nobody that's actually libertarian. Is there a few? Of course there are. Nick, we've talked to him, right? Libertarian.
Yeah, he is.
Totally right.
what happened to
But
Nick.
I mean, but
but
Nick's prescription is to wait 30 years for the trans people to figure out that they want individual rights, and then they'll be with us.
yeah, that being said, so that what you look at, right? So you got this super tiny minority party, the libertarians, and now they might squawk a lot, and you've got some Republicans, right, that are libertarians, but the
Yeah,
only way
right.
they could win is by being Republican in their districts, and it just so happens to be Kentucky. And
Oh God.
one of the things you got to look at is go, well, now that Kentucky had whether you like, who knows? I'm not in Kentucky, but whether you had, whether you liked
Thank
uh,
your lucky stars.
the opponent or not, that
Yeah.
was
You know what?
endorsed by Trump. Trump endorsed somebody, and then you have this massive thing where it's like, holy, like people are gonna have to come to the holy Jesus and realize that Kentucky Four has never been libertarian. They just
No,
didn't have another option.
They
So
got a lot of weird.
they voted for Massey and they voted for Rand Paul.
I want
They
to
didn't
talk
have
about
another
Rand Paul
option.
next before I go.
Trump brings in another option, and everyone's like, "Thank you."
Don't you think
and
Rand Paul is a bit of a snake? I mean,
of course he
presents
is.
himself as one way, but behind the curtain he's completely different and saying
And
different things. It just irks me to no end that guy is
Edward, if you want
open.
to
But then again,
dismantle anybody about Rand Paul, all you say is he sweats over the money about deportations. He never talks about the cost of open borders,
yeah, and you know what? He
which
should be.
is, and open borders is the most expensive social program that anyone could possibly implement.
I know.
And
And
it's not even close.
you think that people would see that by now, but maybe.
No, they'd have to look, for God's
Well,
sake.
Oh yeah,
hold on.
yep,
I guess what people don't understand maybe about libertarianism, it sounds great. It does, right? But it's abolition. They want to abolish all government, which
you
means
can't, you
the borders are just, oh, there is no border, there is no rule, there's no law, nobody's in charge, and
the
people
Wild West.
will their belief is that people will self-regulate just out of the
No, they will.
goodness of their heart.
They will not.
It's
That's not how it works. Yeah, enter India into the conversation if you want to, talk about self-regulate. And go to where Ilhan Ilmar is from. Ilhan Omar,
Somalia.
Somalia.
Yeah.
the biggest pirate, America's got. Go back to her country then. No, they don't self-regulate. That's not true at all. I don't know who are. Now, that's these dum-dums that think, oh, we got to worship humanity. Humanity is the greatest thing. Humanity will be doing the greatest thing, and they'll always come to their senses and do right. And no, they will
It,
not.
it,
Will
it's
not.
not. It's not even about to build a better humanity. The Libertarian Party platform, from my understanding, over the last 40 years has been abolitionist of the
Everything.
government, right?
Everything.
Abolish everything, the police force, the
Yeah, well,
firefighters.
that makes no sense. That's just absolutely.
No. But they're like there should be nobody in charge of us. We are free,
Yeah.
man.
Well, you know
Right.
what? That's just the most
Well,
ridiculous.
no, like I get how some young people would look at that and go, "Oh, yeah, hell yeah, I'll just buy 30 acres in Texas." And well, who are you buying 30 acres from then if there's no government to really.
And how are you going to keep the land? I mean, people just taking it away from you or shooting you.
Well, and that's the point, right? Like, well, if somebody wants your land more than you do, they will form a coalition, and so you're like, well, I'm well armed. Yeah, but you're not well armed against the 57 people that want to take your land in a group coalition, right?
So true.
A commune, and
Yep.
just take it from you.
I know. This is where they're not. This is where that reasoning stops. I mean, that big Swiss cheese with all the holes in it, reasoning. That's so far it goes because they haven't contemplated this long enough. I could go on for hours on the stupidity of this, but it's pointless. But I got to go anyways.
Well, is it pointless though? Is it pointless though?
I know you have to go, but I want to. I know you have to go, Edward, but I want to ask you one more question.
Okay, but I'm a sore loser. But go ahead.
No, I understand. No, that's okay.
Off at you for winning. But
I've been watching these police in the UK make the case for libertarianism by arresting people for Facebook posts while Muslims are killing people downtown.
I know.
And I'm asking myself, England and Canada seem to me to be the same. Is that happening where you are? Are you guys just sticking to killing disabled and people that don't have the will to live? Is that as far as you guys have gone with the death cult, or are you arresting people for Facebook posts yet?
Well, they've had people come to the police come to their doors and say, kind of like, you should watch what you say, because you can't, shut up, get lost already. And they just kick them off. But that's happening here.
For God's sake.
But there's been some.
I've been meaning to ask you that for a while, but obviously I've been offline, but that's not a problem anymore. Obviously, this works out great.
Right.
But will you guys declare independence? What the hell is going on up there? I mean,
Alberta's the answer.
No, that is true though. When you just made a great statement there, because you can gloss over as if it's some simple movement, but I think you'll be surprised the amount of traction this is getting, and I think it's happening, and it's going to happen where this country is going to be no longer, because it's useless as it is now. Anyways, it's going down to the what. And
I understand what you mean, but let me make this prediction tonight.
All right.
The powers that be are not going to permit what they're doing. They're going to pull out all the stops.
I know that.
And it's gonna get really tense. I expect to see my man, Pastor Artur, at the barricades before it's all said and done. I love that guy.
Me too.
He got arrested down at Coots and everything. I mean, they arrest him like they arrest Tommy Robinson over in the UK.
Hang on, JP. Do you think Alberta, which is the movement, right? Separate Alberta. Do you think, obviously, they're going to get slapped down? We've seen that that's where it's going. Do you think that this turns into a Canadian Civil War?
Yes. I was just going to say that, but never let a chance to speak as far as that goes. They're going to give it their all. They're not going to give up. The ones in charge, the king, is not going to let this go easily. Everybody thinks it's going to go so easy. It's going to go exactly the way
Can I say this out loud?
What?
I think they ought to provoke it, and if they appeal to Trump for help, I think he'll help them.
I'm not sure, but it would be good if he did.
No. I absolutely think he will. I mean, he understands Northern defense, and Alberta's oil is Edward, you have no idea how much he wants that.
Well, because it's an easy thing to, it's got all the grades that, everybody needs. And it's so easy to get down to those two refineries just over the border. There's two big refineries there.
I think that more than ever? Because he just reapproved the Keystone Pipeline.
Yeah.
He's got his eye on Alberta.
Yeah.
This is going to be a flashpoint for North America.
I
would not bet against what Trump wants, and I think he's going to make common cause with the Albertans. And I honestly don't think that Carney and the rest of those clowns are ready for that.
No.
Post World War II, the Great British Empire has always felt in charge, and they've been very good at it. They've even in modern times used Epstein as a banker to move things around. For all of you Epstein, Epstein, fuck you. Fuck
Well,
you.
Well,
He
he
was a
was a
banker.
banker. That's all he
But-
was.
By the way, Sean,
but
at least
no-
that shit is finally over with Massey and MTG out of there. Thank God.
Oh God,
I don't want to hear any more about that
mean,
shit.
Edward, but what John was saying is true. Is that we're doing a great global reset and taking away all of the power from Great Britain and putting it
I
in the
want that.
hands of America.
We
I
want that.
know, I know. Trump only has 2.5 years left,
You
but
know,
he is totally resetting that. And so, to your point, which you made a great point, Alberta can tell the actual government, fuck off.
uh-huh.
We're done. We're leaving. And say, hey, Daddy Trump, can you send us
Edward?
2 more F-16s?
Yeah.
Alberta is your Texas.
Yeah, it is.
Okay?
We've always
And
called it Texas North.
And Trump wants it. All right. I know he does. He wants it more than he wanted Greenland.
Time. It's not about him wanting more territories. That
It's
what he's
about
doing, he wants to just reset all of the British
Right.
global things. And if you're friendly to us, you could just be Alberta.
And
You don't need to be a state.
and
You
that's
don't
the
need to
one
even
thing.
be a territory. When Trump says, "Oh, we're probably just going to take Cuba, softly take it," that doesn't mean it's going to become a territory or a state. And like, people are missing this. People
One
are
of those-
absolutely looking at this as we're just expanding, and this is no, it's not.
strategic.
It is you're either Western with America, or we make you Western
Yeah.
with America. Get the fuck out of my hemisphere.
Yeah.
Right.
Out. Get out.
Yep.
And so Canada can still try to team up with China, which they're threatening.
That's stupid.
Right.
That's never gonna
And
go on.
Trump's like,
Doesn't that sound ridiculous now? Think about it.
What's that? Which part?
Teaming up with China. It
Oh,
sounds
God.
ridiculous.
It is ridiculous because they got no money to pay us for anything anyways. Why don't you stick with a country that's actually got some money instead of getting paid in bananas or all these other stupid trade ideas that Carnage guy has got up his sleeve there? Oh, that's okay. We'll give them all this money. They can pay us back in, I don't know, maybe 20,000 EVs that we're never going to sell here anyways.
holy shit,
Totally.
Edward from the top ropes.
Huh? I'm just saying.
He's only following WEF orders, man. He's just saying what they tell
I
him
know
to
it.
say.
And you know what? The big problem, the whole thing that no one sees, the king is in charge of everything that happens here. He's not going to let Canada go away easily. When you say he's going to throw everything at it, you're right. But guess who else the king is also in charge of? United Nations. He runs United Nations. He has got the top say at United Nations, and no one realizes
what?
that. Huh?
So what?
Because he controls every step of all the other
No.
countries.
Do they? Let me ask you. Do they have a military?
Yeah, that's where America comes in, and I love that because you go go ahead. If you don't like it, then
I mean,
you join the
they've
military.
tried to import a whole army of third world ne'er-do-wells into Europe to be their UN army, but they're not ready. And they sure as hell aren't going to fight for a bunch of white guys in Davos.
No, God, no. That's what we had over here when we had the big trucker convoy. All the UN police from there weren't even Canadians here, a boss around, and no one knew that because they didn't have any tags or patches or anything on their uniforms.
That's you hit it now. That's the plan. That's how they think they can stop this, and it will not work.
It won't work now because now that we're all privy to this information, we found this all out. Now they're going to have a big tough time because call all these UN police in now. We'll hammer the shit out of those guys for sure this time.
Listen, you know all this shit that you never tell us. Anyway, okay.
What I mean, I shouldn't say all that because everybody's listening to us, so we can't say too much. But yeah, so this is what
we could make the absolute observation that in America. I already laid the timeline 2010 to 2026. America's just we're done. Great Britain,
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yourself.
Canada's the same way too. We got to get rid of this king. We got to get rid of the crap.
But
The
no,
whole thing.
and I believe you're right. I absolutely believe the Canadian people are right. Canada only needs the help a little bit because it just be the population smaller, a massive territory. Is just the American people going, yeah, let's go ahead and be best friends with them again, and we are really best friends with Canada, but obviously the news in both nations points this as a fight.
Only with the really cool Ontarians.
Right. So,
yeah, I like you again.
But you get to that. Look, whether this is a turning point for Great Britain, is a look. We're going to put China on your border.
Yeah,
and Trump is like,
they have been doing that.
The hell you will. No. He goes, and then he goes to China. He flies to China for 2 days. He's like, hey, so I heard Canada wanted to talk to you, but they don't have shit. What do you guys want to trade? And they're like, well, we want to trade this and that, but we also want you to concede here and there. And Trump goes, no, we're not conceding anything.
No, why should he?
We control the Western Hemisphere. And by the way, we also control the Eastern Hemisphere. So we get what is it exactly you want to?
That you want.
You guys need to eat, and your entire population eats pork
and grain. Where do you think they get that from?
No, hold on. The soybeans grown in America feed the hogs in China.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know what? Soybeans.
Do you want more some soybeans? Do you want China?
They do.
Gee, do you want more soybeans? We got a shit ton.
He does. Yeah, he does.
And that's why
do you want them?
Yeah.
Obviously, the news says, no, this was a negotiation. No, it wasn't. He goes, do you want to feed your population?
Right.
And you know what? That's why when you listen to the libtard news networks going on about, oh, Trump failed. No, he didn't. He doesn't have to trade. And you don't have to do anything today or next week. Do it next month. Do it 6 months from now. It doesn't have to be today. And I think China's going to rethink their position pretty soon anyway. So I don't put any stock in any of this stupid stuff you're talking about, because when it comes down to it and you're starving to death and your people are starving to death, I think you'll change your mind pretty quick, like Cuba. Hear me? But that's just where we are today. But anyways, I got to go, boys. It's been, over 2 hours. So I'm going to go back to finish my dinner. And
think of it as a reunion. Think of it as a reunion tour with rejuvenated technology in the heartland. All right?
Loving it, yes. And before I go, I got to say Cleveland rocks. Drew Carey did a good job of that show, by the way.
Sorry, Edward.
Yeah. Listen, that was fun.
I'll get you next time. I will win next time.
By the way, I will say this. Even though the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Cleveland, Presley's Cadillac with the 5 golden records on the roof is in Nashville.
It is. But it's still country, huh?
That's the country music Hall of Fame. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Cleveland. Right.
Before you ditch us, Edward, I just want to say thank you so much. And I know you really don't do this stuff like you used to do. If you could just block off Fridays for trivia, that would be awesome.
Gotcha. Uh-huh.
And I know we went long on a lot of things, but kind of the whole point. I know we went long after, but kind of the whole point of trivia is to start a conversation.
Well,
we did. After each question, we started a conversation.
Yeah. When we did the X Spaces all those years, politics, it's never ending. You can go on sometimes we went on for 4 hours a night, with.
Oh my God. There were times we went till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
And you had, how many people. It was just amazing, the questions and the people and everything. But those days are
Yeah,
gone.
no, and that's totally interesting. And to your point, the reason we were doing it, well, hundreds, sometimes thousands of people were
Uh-huh.
engaged with those X spaces that we were doing, and then it was seven, and then
Yeah.
it was two.
Well, once Trump got in, pretty much the mission was accomplished. So there wasn't much point in carrying on, with anything more. Now we have to go on to different.
It was my co-host. Everybody on the planet hated my co-host.
Yeah. Well,
That's what did it.
those days are gone, so we don't have to worry about that anyway. So, time to move on. And we don't have to stick with geopolitics or anything, anyways. I think we can go into many more branches. Well, social engineering being our favorite topic, anyways. Where we find ourselves today in society. What a crime. Anyways, gentlemen, I'm
Yeah,
Take
out.
care,
drop
gentlemen.
out. I'm gonna hang out with John for a minute.
All right,
All right.
then. You
Man,
guys.
thank you so much, Edward. Thanks for showing up to play a trivia night in America.
Uh,
I would like to try to do this on Fridays if we're all available. If we're not available, we'll just postpone it till the next Friday.
well, you know what? Again, thanks for having me, and we'll have to make this a ritual thing. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good man. All
See
right. Be
you.
good, Edward. Okay.
there, listen. One of the cool things about this, and I'll have to do some more work on the Doom Scroll, is that we can bring up so much historical stuff to talk about, which we briefly went into, but so that I could set up a show where you and I literally could talk like Tarleton,
Yeah.
and the like. So when you look at the movie The Patriot, right? The swamp.
Right.
Was a Swamp Fox versus Tarleton. Both real characters,
Oh,
both
very real.
synthesized into a movie to make it movie worthy. And a lot of people go, "Well, it's just a movie," and I'll go, "What?
No, it wasn't.
It's actually
Same way Braveheart was
really
just a movie.
close to how the
Yeah.
Swamp Fox, Francis, and Tarleton interacted with each other through the war. It's
Right.
actually pretty accurate. Now were sites synthesized so that you get a authentic 1770s plantation village? Yes, but
Right.
only because those are the ones that still exist, and that's what the movie used for it. But like these sites are all around the South.
Oh yeah. What choice do they have? That's what they have to choose from.
Right. And so yeah, and I don't I can't remember how many times I posted something about Tarleton being the most brutal British colonel in the history of history. And people were like, "It was just a movie."
You
Really?
do remember that the British objected to that movie
Yeah.
and
Of
the
course they did.
characterization of Tabington and that it wasn't that way. And I thought to myself, like hell it wasn't. I mean, anywhere the British go, that's the shit that happens.
Yeah, and
I'm
there's
I'm sorry. They
it,
they
it,
do they do what's necessary to subdue the locals, and if it takes burning them in a church, that's what they do.
they did, and they had no problem just shooting and executing children
Yes. They
because
couldn't care less.
your lineage will not live. You will
Right.
obey the
Or or
crown.
or as he said, "Stupid boy."
Hmm.
And you're like, "What kind of monster are you?" "Oh, I serve the crown." "Yeah, you do."
I and
I listen, Obama and I don't agree on much, but we agree on that. I you know, I wouldn't have sent back the bust of Churchill, but I would certainly send back, uh, any number of things that the British Commonwealth sent me that I want no part of it.
I don't either.
No, no, and I mean, you may not love Sir Winnie either. I mean, but he was courageous. I mean, at least he was a hero figure as opposed to just being a villain.
Well, listen, it's not that. I guess what people don't understand about the revolution really starts with in the 1600s. Everybody was British except for Florida.
Right.
Everybody was
The
British,
Moors,
right?
yeah,
They they were British colonists, right?
right.
And one of the funny things we talk about this often, right, is the redcoats are coming. They would have never said anything like that.
Oh, of course not. That's
First,
us.
they needed to be disguised and not draw alarm to the British regulars or the people from the other side of the Atlantic.
Right.
And think you 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 look at it and you just go, all right, it was a fantasy written up. The story being sort of correct that it was a fantasy written afterwards. The redcoats are coming.
That's how
In a
history is usually
novel,
written. Yeah.
written by somebody who was making an influencer who was going to make a ton of money by selling books.
Right.
The redcoats are coming. Oh, by the way, Paul Revere was just riding on a horse holding out two lanterns. What?
Yeah.
What?
One if by land, two by sea. Sure
Yeah,
thing.
so you
Yeah.
got horse riders just riding through British colonies, going to
Right.
alarm the militias. Not
Yeah.
American. And here's where they still get it wrong. They say American militias. The British resistance,
Right.
right?
Right.
I'm just riding through.
The colonial,
I'm
the
just riding through the
colonial
river.
resistance. The colonial
The
resistance. Right.
colonial. I'm just riding through the river with two lanterns out, just calling for my death.
Exactly. I want to make sure I get killed. Right. I mean, no quicker way to do it. I'm actually shocked that he didn't get killed. You know,
Uh,
he must have been a pretty good talker.
the story was close. Yeah, the story. He got Paul himself right out of the three riders. Paul got pulled over by the popo,
Yeah.
the police.
I don't know
Uh,
that
they,
they apprehended William Dawes or not,
they
but
did
I
not.
think he got
They did not.
he got there.
So
Yeah.
Paul got pulled over by the popo. The Worley lights went on. No, it's not Worley lights at the time, but he got pulled over by the British police and apprehended. And they're like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, I'm just gonna go fishing, boys."
Yeah, I'm
I'm
warning
like,
people.
what are
I'm
you
warning
talking
people
about?
that you guys are coming, so they should hide their guns. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Well, and so he wasn't the first one to make it to Concord, and the other guy was the first guy to make it to Lexington. Paul Revere did finally make it on foot because the police, like for everybody who hates the
Took
police,
his horse. Right.
well, his horse. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't. We'll let you live. You can't have your horse anymore. Walk, and he did. He walked.
Of course he did.
Huh?
He was committed. Maybe he was a podcaster. Who knows? You know, we see your engagement. You're not gonna make it, so I'll walk. God damn it! Yeah.
I saw. I think the account, if people want to look it up, is a Green Beret. Post something hilarious today that you will appreciate. He goes, "Everyone left cable news for the lies to only fall for lies from podcasters."
Did he illustrate with Megan Kelly and Tucker and then the gang?
That was the
That would have
post.
made it more effective.
That
And
was
you
that was the
use
post.
some
So
pictures of
everybody
Alex
below.
Jones. Use some pictures of the liars. Yeah, Robert
Mhm.
Barnes, Rich Barris.
That was the post, but everybody in the comments was able to mention
Well,
all
they
these
knew who they
people.
meant, and they knew who he meant.
Right. And yeah,
They
so
have no idea how much they're hurting themselves. In fact, that was I kind of tiptoed out on this ledge earlier, but seems like a fusion of America First and neocon. I mean, if the wars aren't forever, are they worth it? I mean that's kind of what we're looking at. You're going to use the military strategically, but you're not going to stay forever. Does that mean you're not America First, or does that mean you actually really are, but you need to tolerate a little bit of noise? That's what I see.
all right, then let
And
me
I
let me ask you this: If you were to, let's say, 1980s, just think forward to 2026, but if you were tasked financially with being the world police, right?
Yes,
Hold on, because that absolutely happened post World War II. But say the 1980s comes up and everybody's ripping you off. The 1990s comes up, everyone's still ripping you off. But we're giving a pro America messaging that well, obviously we got to go bomb this area.
right.
Boring, boring, but they were doing it. And then you move into the Bush dynasty. Right, we all I know, I get it. We know now, later, that there was no weapons of mass destruction and whatever, and this was the wrong fight. The fight was always against the mullahs and the Ayatollah. And then Trump looks at this, and Trump has been saying since the 1980s, Iran must be ended.
Pretty
And
consistent for 45 years, yeah.
yeah, so obviously, I know humans. You get we get old, they get young, we get new humans, and they don't know this history that we know of fighting in the Middle East, which we probably would agree with. That was bad wars because the war was always fighting against Iranian Islam from the outskirts
But we were never
instead of just
fighting them.
going Instead of just going to Islam itself
Right,
and just taking care of the problem, right?
right. So the question I have for you is, agreeing with all that, is Tony right? Do we need to finish off the IRGC, or is Trump right? And since he's determined to negotiate with someone and cut a deal, what are we doing?
Here's my take, and I will say it on public broadcast,
Okay,
is that Trump is letting the CIA do their thing.
okay.
And you might go, well, what does that mean? Well, the CIA they've been on
Are
the
they are
ground for
they are they
50
on
years.
our side this time?
I sure hope so.
I hope so too. Yeah, that's always
Well,
a question. That's
and
always a
Trump, listen, we'll bang Trump here. Trump sometimes falls for that shit,
I
but
know.
I believe Trump is like, I will let the CIA start a revolution, just like. And if you ask what does that look like, that looks like Ukraine in 2014. I'll let them
Right.
start a revolution and take over.
Okay. I mean, that's what they like to do. And obviously the central government is weak enough for it to work. You don't have to have a I would just caution them, don't be trying to activate LGBTQ Persians, okay? Really, can we just stick with typical revolution
Regular Persian.
as opposed to the nonsense of picking out emotionally volatile people to start demonstrating for no reason? I mean, can we actually do it the old-fashioned way?
I get what one can only hope. So, where I'm at, different than Tony. And I agree that ultimately we're going to go to where Tony Katz says we're going to go is delete IRGC. What
Yeah.
I think what Tony's frustration is, well, we're on 6 weeks of pause now, Mr. President. Is that I believe Trump believes there's always a deal to be made,
Right.
right? And it doesn't matter what the deal is, but there's a deal to be made. And I also agree with Tony. He's like, well, there's no deal to be made with the IRGC. I also believe, because Tony's correct, that Oman, that Israel, that the United States, and that Saudi Arabia have all of the targets in weapon systems ready and
Right.
pointed at Iran. And
So, in other words,
Iran, for whatever's left of them, not the people, the IRGC,
right.
they know this, but they are just the type of people that are like, you can't. I'm better. I win. I will win. They won't win.
The Black Knight Monty Python.
Yes. Yeah.
Tis but a
It's just
scratch.
piss fit a scratch. It's merely a flesh wound. Right?
Yeah. I actually it's an interesting angle on the civil unrest being the key to this. We haven't seen anything yet that anybody's talking about, but I admit it could be a possibility. And I think to Trump's way of thinking, it's like, well, if it does happen, they can't resist it. They don't have enough to shoot it down, and we're here to back them up if they're going to do it. That's why he keeps saying unlimited, and it's like, okay, I hear the strait's going to open, which will help. Obviously, it'll help prices, but I hear they're still going to try to charge tolls, which is insane. But overall, from a global perspective, and this might be the show that we should talk about, is how that row of nations there is the new European allies in the emerging world.
Are they the European allies, or are they now becoming the American allies? And remember, a year or maybe 2 years ago, you and I were talking about Trump resetting
Right,
away from NATO and away to friendly nations
right.
that want to
I,
do trade.
I use the term Donald of Arabia,
Right.
and the reason that he hasn't been as aggressive down there, and it's leaked out that Saudi doesn't want him to really break a lot more stuff, and that's probably why we stopped. Okay, because when you started getting the LNG fire in Qatar and across the channel,
Well, yeah,
all
of
of a sudden,
course.
yeah. I
They
mean, I understand not wanting to wreck.
they were getting shot at, and they're like, "Hey,
Right,
Mr. President, Mr. P,
yeah.
whoa, they're blowing up my oil
Right,
system."
and then you try to open the strait, and then they're blowing us up, and you're not doing anything about it. So how about you don't use our bases? I get that. I get that. I understand that.
Mm.
But at the same time, you boys are going to have to step up at some point and help us settle this. If you want it settled, if you don't want to step up and help us settle this, we're going to have to settle it ourselves, and you're not going to like how that goes.
Well, you nailed it. So he said to Oman, he said to Qatar, he said to Saudi Arabia, he said to Abu Dhabi, he said, "It's your oil, boys. Come and
Right.
take it. We won't stop you." Like, what war has America said? All right, we pounded everybody into the dust. Now you can come up with your little, very powerful but smaller militaries and just fucking take it. It's not American oil. We don't give a
Right.
shit.
There's actually one more angle here that you probably haven't thought about, and when I thought about it, it made me sick to my stomach, so I was pretty sure it was true. It's I've heard about the reinsurance issue on these tankers, and the main underwriter of tankers is Lloyd's of London. Gee, you think there's any never Trumpers there that are refusing to write insurance?
No,
Yeah,
I agree. I totally
yeah,
agree
no
with that.
shit. And that sickens me that those dickwads will sit there and starve their own nations for oil to prove a point about Trump. But it's completely consistent with how I know they are. They don't want the loss of power and control. And you know what I think? You know what I think.
Well, we've talked about this for several years, going through this. Like our really good friend, the Canuck, doesn't see this stuff. It obviously we say he's behind the Iron Curtain, but this really comes back to Trump just totally resetting the globe away from British power,
British power.
right? Like,
And
because
someone
the
has to
Britons, the British power has been massive on the drain of American taxpayers across the globe ever since
huge.
1944.
The same way that Paul talks about how these vendors in the Pacific kind of don't understand not getting stuff done in Australia and all the rest of that. That's what they've always done. Okay, so they kind that's easy, so they kind of want to do it that way, even though it makes no sense
Yeah.
because the delivery takes too long. That's the same way with Lloyd's of London. I mean, I've heard Trump talking about Chubb Insurance. We can reinsure those fucking tankers. If you guys want to get them through there, they'll get a military escort, and we'll get you out of there, and you'll make some money. Oh, but we've always deal with Keir and Lords of London. Fuck you guys. I'm honest to God, I have
Well,
no patience with that. But I know that's how the human brain works.
yeah, you're correct in when you look at it, right? Trump said it out loud. He goes, "Well, fuck you. I'll just insure it."
Right.
Oh, you want to run your boat? We'll
Run your
escort.
boat.
We'll escort you with a frigate.
Right.
Yeah, no problems, no worries. We'll take whatever inbound that the RRGC has left. We'll move you through.
Which ain't
And,
much.
and and then he
Right.
says again, he reminds the entire planet, this is not our oil, it's yours. Come fix this shit.
Right.
And
And then
everybody should know what the problem is. The IRGC. You need to delete them.
you need to do something about it. Right.
No, not just do something. You need to delete it.
Okay. You think Saudi and the rest of those guys got the balls to do that?
I do. And they have the
Okay.
US military equipment to do it. And everybody that was online tonight seeing Trump go back to the White House saying, "Oh, here it comes." You don't know what "here it comes"
No,
means.
that's not what's
That's
coming.
not what's going on. Trump has been empowering, all of the other. Nobody in the Middle East likes Iran or the Iranian regime. Nobody at all. They are more like Trump. They want to just trade. They want to get rich, and they have lots of resources that they could get rich from. And they hate the fact that Iran has always been a warmonger over them. And,
Every
and Trump is just like, look, dude, I paused for 6 fucking weeks, you losers.
right.
Get to fucking war. Not
Iran
America, not even Israel. I want Saudi Arabia, which all like Qatar. I, I I can start naming names. They all have American military technology and could finish this.
in 2 days.
Yes.
Yeah.
If all 5 of those countries did it, the
It'd
Iranian
be
people would still exist, but
it'd be over
with
before tomorrow
American
morning. Yeah.
intelligence and Israeli intelligence and the technology that they've already bought from us, and then all of a sudden, they would become a powerhouse in trading.
Right.
Iran
With that
Iran would still exist, it just wouldn't be Islamic.
it would be, Persian.
Yes.
Maybe. Right. If that's what they vote for. Right.
Yeah, it might even be Arab, but not
Yeah.
necessarily it would not be Islamic.
Oh, Islam is just it's a loser's game. It's ridiculous. But it's useful to the communists because it enslaves people.
Yep.
And the Islamists and communists always think they'll prevail at the end, and the Islamists did in Iran, but the communists usually do. It's just disgusting.
But for what reason? What's the ultimate reason that Islamists or communists think that they will ultimately prevail?
Well, because they're willing to do what's necessary to kill everybody else. That's why.
Yes, they will
And
control.
the very thing that right now we're proving not willing to do to get rid of the IRGC,
So
even though
so
I
wait,
think
you're
we are
you're
will.
you're saying they will be authoritarian, they will be dictators, everything that the American leftist claims Donald Trump is.
I couldn't give a shit if Iran has an authoritarian government. I don't give a damn as long as they're not setting off IEDs
Yep.
to kill our servicemen, and as long as they're leaving us alone, I'm totally okay. And as long as Hezbollah is not doing their thing, I mean, I don't give a damn what they do. I really don't.
Well, and that
I mean, obviously, I think their girls are really cute, and I wish them well, and they can breed and create new Persian kids or whatever. And I think they'll probably be really smart. But you know, I, I don't have a dog in the fight.
I don't disagree with you. What's funny to me is that people that would disagree with you, they're, oh,
And
you're trying to
Sean, I am as savagely hated as just about anybody you've ever met. I mean, even today, I went to get this haircut, which I think looks awesome. For
Mhm.
what it's worth out there, I should have worn a better shirt tonight, so I'd look a little sharper. But I mean, that is one awesome beard trim, isn't it? I mean, really good. And I can't taste any of my hair, so I'm feeling really great about it. But she looks at me and she says, "This is Vicky, who used to rent a chair from me," and she says, "Man, you are on everybody's mind." I said, "Is that right?" I said, "I've never done less." She said, what do you mean?" I said, I picked up my chips and went home, baby." I said, I'm done. I didn't renew my lease. I fired everybody. I said, "The hell with it." She says, "Well, do any of them contact you?" I said, "I don't want to hear from them."
Right.
I said, "I honestly don't care what happens to any of them." I said, "I invested 11 years making a wonderful workplace available for them where they could flourish if they had enough ambition to make it work." And a small handful of people did it, but they didn't do it all at the same time. In 2021, I had critical mass of about 4 of them, and we billed $1 million, which was pretty good. But after that, they all started to hear the siren song of Botox and renting a booth and doing all the rest of this. And the OnlyFans thing decimated my employment pool, and we just kept sliding,
Yeah.
and yet at the end I had all these people willing to blame me about that there was no opportunity, which is absolute crap. All you needed to do was apply yourself. And she says, "Oh, my customers are talking about it all the time." She says, "That other place was beautiful." She says, "I mean, you had so much space. It was like getting your hair done was a big deal. I mean, the great parking, it was all this." She says, "Well, yeah." She says, And she says, well, what should I tell them? I said, ask them why they didn't shop for my retail more. Oh, but you
Yeah.
wanted to go to Ulta because you wanted to save a couple of pennies, or you wanted to go to fucking Walmart or whatever. Yeah, okay. But those decisions have consequences. If you like the place you're going, you buy things from them and you try their other departments and you support the business. You don't just assume that this beautiful place is going to be here forever because this guy is willing to underwrite any loss he gets. She says, yeah, she says, some of the people who one of these girls who's a blah 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 blah. She says she's saying that the word's going around that you were a squatter.
What?
I said a squatter. Well, yeah, because your shirt was in the laundry. I said
Well,
on Thursday.
hold on. I know we talked about this earlier, but hold on. Like I've worked in not that many, but probably a dozen places, and I've worked at a place where the owner had a place like yours, like had a retail business, and his mother literally lived in the place, and like hold on, you go what squatter what? Somebody who's paying you a paycheck use the laundry and they're a squatter? Squatters is a much different thing than you think it is.
Isn't that amazing? You don't even know the definition of the word.
Right.
You are
I'm living
disgraced.
in somebody else's house.
Right.
Not
You
not
are
that the owner or the owner's family might stay a few nights in the business.
right. Oh, he used the shower here. Oh,
Right.
how awful.
Squatter? Really?
He's
You
paying
well,
he's
that
paying
again, that just goes
I
back to my
okay,
point, that proves my point that they have no idea what a business owner does to give them a paycheck.
why do you think we're open on Sunday, dear? We're open on Sunday because I work the front desk.
Mhm.
And Sunday is an opportunity for you to meet new guests that aren't going to places that are closed. All right? And no, I'm not the best eye candy in the world, and I'm not the most pleasant, but the place is open.
Mm,
Oh, well, his shirts were on a rack in his office, so, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, fuck yeah. If I had to go somewhere nice, I had to have a dress shirt. Is there
mm.
a law against hanging up your dress shirt in your office? I
No,
mean, Sean, this shit is so silly
but
that it
wait, did this all come out of Marxist training over the last 5
of
decades?
course, of course, it,
Right,
it makes
the business owner, the rich guy, which you were never rich.
right, the
The
guy who's
rich
losing
guy.
money every day and going out of business, right, that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now all of a sudden he's a squatter because he's using, the
The
business.
facility that he pays for.
Right, to whatever, use the laundry or to
Or the bathroom.
live.
Oh my God. You should go home to go to the bathroom because you might interrupt us here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh,
These are not mental giants I was dealing with. I can tell you that.
no, yeah, I believe that's true, and I believe probably 30% of people who vote are not mental giants.
I agree with that.
Um, that being said, there are enough people on both sides that absolutely know what's going on, and that's not helpful either. It's not because they know I can just change the electorate by
That's what they were trying to do, but John Thune is very upset that we've interrupted that process.
can we please just get rid of him?
Isn't it amazing? He makes Mitch McConnell look like a samurai. He really does. Think of how long McConnell avoided accountability doing the exact same thing.
44 years Mitch
Yeah.
McConnell was able to just obstruct everything.
And use the parliamentarian to strike things
He
out.
was in charge of all the money too for people's races. So when people were running for re-election, the turtle, Mitch McConnell, either said yes or no and completely turned off all GOP funding to people who did not sway to him.
Right. I actually still remember that Senate race in Ohio where JD Vance was running against some guy who said he was the Marine. I don't know if you remember that guy or not. He was a total dickhead.
I
But
did. I don't remember.
my understanding was in the background, and Bannon liked that guy, but he was snuggling up to McConnell in the background, and I'm like, what a fucking
Is Steve
worm.
Bannon at this point not just freaking Alex Jones?
Oh yeah. He's just a little
Like,
boutique
all he's
cheer.
doing is trying to get on freaking Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and he's fucking Alex Jones at this point. He's like the
I agree.
spider's the spider.
I mean, no, it's crazy.
You're like, what are
Crazy.
you talking about? And he goes, no, it's the spider. Trump is the spider. And what? Well, the spider's the spider. And you're like, I still don't follow you, Bannon. What the
No.
fuck are you talking about? But he just says it over and over and over and over again, and then it sinks into everybody who watches War Room with Steve Bannon that Trump's the spider. You're like, I still have no idea what the fuck it means, but I totally get what you're trying to do.
Well, he has an occasional guess that makes some sense, but most of them are over the hill, are completely out of date. I mean,
Jack, hold
it's gotten so bad.
hold on. Millennials like Jack Posobiec.
Oh,
Hold on. Listen. I'm guessing just rock band style. They're like, no, he's a rock star. We're gonna hang out with them, and they get all the clicks, they get all the views, they get all the monetization, right? And Pacific's not the only one, but there's a bunch of them, and there's some where I look at them like, you could actually do good work if you just break off from Bannon, right?
there's one guy
Natalie Winters is the one I think of.
oh, she absolutely vivisected him. Yeah, it's great. There's this guy in New York who's a Jewish guy. I think he's just crowdsource the truth is his name. He's the guy who busted in on Weissman in a press conference and put him on the grill, which was great. He also confronted Norm Eisen on the sidewalk and got a pretty good video out of him and chased him around screaming that guys in prison like guys like you, Norm. No, that's a video worth seeing. But he bumped into Posobiec outside the Madison Square Garden event for the campaign rally. Remember the Nazi rally right out Madison Square Garden?
Yep.
And Posobiec was having none of it. And this guy looks up at him and says, I never realized you were such an asshole. Now, that's a piece of video that I would like to put on loop.
Right. Well, and then there was something I saw on. We'll close this out soon, but there was
All right.
something I saw on the internet tonight that said, I can't remember who the guy or girl or it doesn't matter. The account said, uh, they're like, I can't believe so many people fell for the podcasters. And I said, and my comment was very clear: is the people who believed all of a sudden they had a change. They believed that they couldn't believe cable news anymore, and they were going to get real news from the podcast pros. And the guy
Right.
obviously responded to me as bingo, but that's what it is. It's the people that just believe, which they should totally listen to this podcast that we do.
We had Megan Kelly over
Right.
here, and now she's over here. She's telling us the truth now that she's away from Fox.
Well,
Yeah.
of course, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, whether it's Megan Kelly or any of the other ones, and it always went. At first, it went to, and still, right, the Fox News defectors,
That's right.
right?
Well,
All
they
the
had the
tech.
biggest footprint. Yeah.
And remember, there was a movie that came out about the Fox News defectors.
Really? No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, yeah. Talking about the CEO and sexual imperversions, and that's why they had to
Ah,
leave. And that may or may not be true. I'm not denying. I have no idea, but that's why they had to leave. When they claim they became independent, Twitter journalists or YouTube journalists, they didn't say that. They just said, I'm gonna bring you the real news," and they still didn't do it.
nope.
I and
I I'll
one of the
say
ones
this,
that
but I
like
always thought Gretchen.
one of the
Yes,
ones that I
good.
one of the ones so CBS hired Barry Weiss is the editor in chief of their news. I'm not talking about their television programming. I'm talking about their news. She's had some battles for sure, and I appreciate the battles she's been doing, but I still look at what CBS News puts out as news, and I go, "Holy shit, Barry, how hard is it to do your job?" Because I know you're not a Trump fan, but you are a truth fan, and the shit
Most
that
of it.
comes out of your news network is not truth
Nope.
at
No.
all.
She's got a long road to hoe. If she's really interested in truth, I just wonder how much partisanship just absolutely infects your blood and colors your judgment. I mean, Sean, I've had to do so many rethings I can't even count them.
Well, obviously, I've talked to you for years, but if you just look at the common person, everything's a team sport, right?
Right.
And so, right, politics is too. And that's where like I'm looking at Barry Weiss is the measure of if we could ever get to neutrality in news.
Right.
And I think she wants that, even though she's a total Democrat. We know this. She's not anti-Trump. She claim. I know. She claims she
I've
wants.
heard that. Yeah.
She
Yeah.
claims she wants. Well, and the reason I know this is because, or I believe this. I'll say the reason I
Okay.
believe this is because when she came in and Elon said, uh, "Fuck yeah, you're one of the ones. Do the Twitter files. I will open up all access to
Sure.
show you how the left illegally, totally corrupted Twitter, and people should go to jail." And she had 17 very great stories about people who should go to jail. Did
Yeah.
anyone go to jail? No, of course
Of
not.
course not.
But
Of
as a
course not.
reporter,
She
she
was she was the best of the people that did that. I mean, she was even better than Taibbi, who's always can't get over himself. I used to subscribe to him, and then I gave it up. I couldn't take
I like
myself.
Taibbi, but again, they're both Taibbi and Weiss are left,
Right.
and they
I
were
mean, I
still
mean, so
at
is
least
Berenson.
at least for the Twitter files. You're just like, holy shit!
I
Can you
used to listen.
imagine?
I used to hinge on Alex Berenson's every word when it came to COVID, and I mean, he was very good at first, but the chinks in the armor eventually appeared. I mean, the guy's got TDS. And there's so many that are that way.
Glenn Greenwald. Yep, Glenn
Yeah,
Glenn
same
Greenwald.
thing. I mean, look, Megan, when she was going on the other night, I tuned in just to laugh, and she actually kept me awake because she was screeching. And and I can't believe he's screaming, and I'm just like, holy crap, you sound like an Irish washerwoman, for God's sake.
I will have to find and repost for everybody because I don't have the link. But there was a really good. Um, I'm just gonna call it a Substack, but it wasn't. It was on another platform. That that basically was just saying that I don't want to. I'm not going to use the term, but that the anti-Trump right
Yes.
has done everything in their power to defeat them and still have not. And they're still going to continue to try this.
They can't stop because it's their rice bowl. It's the way they make a living, and their living standard is greatly diminished since he showed up because the salad days are over. I mean, if you're Bill Kristol, you don't if you're Jonah Goldberg, you don't get what you're
Yeah,
gonna get.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
can't
Bill Crystal fucked himself way early, but there's
oh
other
yeah.
people like
Yeah. And
Carlson
listen, I have
that,
to give
that are
when someone
still
says
monetizing the shit out of this in the tunes of millions and millions of dollars every year.
when someone says to me that Democrats are smarter than Republicans, I say, I agree with you. They're street smart. And they say, well,
Yeah.
what do you mean by that? I said, well, when the potentates at the DNC saw Bernie's momentum in 2016, they looked over there at Bill Kristol and said, oh, we don't want any part of that. We don't want to be Never Sanders. So we're just going to abandon ship and throw it in behind the Hildebeest. All right. And they they got back to the and they got back to 2020, and there he goes again with the same momentum. And they needed more extraordinary measures. So Nancy and the gang and Carville and all, hey, let's force all these motherfuckers out of this primary, and let's put the corpse up there, and let's ride him to victory, and then we can stage manage things from a few blocks down the street with Barack for 4 years.
Well, the
Yeah.
whole could you imagine, like, if the Democrat Party had not gotten in the way, which was already leading very socialist, very communist,
Yeah.
because of Obama, right? So I'm not talking about a time before Obama.
Oh,
I'm
I know.
talking about in it if they would have not gotten in the way, I have no doubt in my mind that you would have a president
Bernie Sanders.
dictator, but Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Absolutely, he would have absolutely. There was no way Hillary Clinton was going to win. Bernie Sanders absolutely could have, if in my personal opinion, taken out Donald Trump and brought communism to the
Oh
United
yeah.
States.
And when you say you really hate election rigging, do you really hate election rigging when you realize that they used Dominion to take the California primary away from Sanders in 2016? Because they did everything they ever did to us to him.
Yep, they
And then he folded,
absolutely did.
and then instead of fighting, which he could have done, he folded up like a cheap camera and took another lake house.
Like,
I mean, I, all of this is so complex in terms of ins and outs and power and all the rest of that that it blows my mind sometimes to think how close we've been to losing everything. And in 2016, Sean, I was oblivious to the fact that we might lose everything.
were you?
Yeah, I had no idea. I mean, it was, I liked Trump. I thought he could win. I thought it was important, you know, but
Well,
at the same
it'd be
time,
funny to get the TV guy in. A lot of people are just like, yeah, the
yeah,
TV guy.
yeah,
That you're
that'll be
fired.
entertaining. I hadn't been entertained since Clinton, so I thought it would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, he could rip on Rosie O'Donnell from the Oval Office, and I had I honestly I had no idea. I mean, I was hip deep in a shit marriage and a new business off the ground and everything, and I really hadn't thought about it that much, but I did have my Trump flag and I had, all of my stuff, but I Sean, you know how bad it was? I didn't even vote in 16. I knew he'd win Missouri, so what was the point? I didn't even bother.
Oh,
I've never
no, 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 totally agree, and to answer to anybody that yeah, we still got listeners. What does it matter is the downvote, to all the way down to city council.
No, it didn't matter. I mean, there's just a bunch of Missouri rhinos, and no, I won't apologize for
Oh,
saying that about you
oh,
guys. I mean, back then we had
time out. Trump just proved he can, fucking screw Missouri rhinos at
well,
the
yeah, he
city council
can, but
level.
back then he wasn't screwing them. Back then we were stuck with them, and
Even
anything I voted, the
I
incumbents
don't
always
believe
won.
he understood his power in his first term. He should have used it.
Well, you can argue that he did because he held the Senate even though he got creamed in the House in 2018. And that ended up being a very key thing because he reshaped the Supreme Court with that Senate majority. He picked up 4 Senate seats in 2018. Look it up.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that was just an unmasking of some historic inequities involved with clowns like Kent Conrad and Byron Dorgan and all those asshole Democrats up in the Plain States who got elected as Democrats, even though talk like Republicans, got elected, and all they did was vote with Tom Daschle. I mean, speaking of those assholes, I mean, Tom Daschle. I mean, Spoon and Daschle are the same person.
Oh, they are absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, but the point is that Heidi Heitkamp was running up in South Dakota, and Trump got her out of there. And I mean, seriously, that was the first time that I'd seen him uh, put the whole thing on his back because he knew he needed the Senate, and he went to every state and he kept campaigning. He got like 4. I mean, he tried to get 5, but it worked.
He did a rally yesterday, and everyone's gonna go, well, but you can't be president again on the Republican ticket. And the
Yeah.
left's gonna go, well, clearly this proves he's never leaving office. But he did,
No.
and I watched probably 75% of the rally. It was everything you expected to be. It was a rally. Talking about
Boilerplate. Yeah.
talking about the one big beautiful bill and all the other things they're doing. And I know it's boring to me and you. It is, but
I've only heard it 1,000 times.
right. But obviously he does it for a reason. The reason
Yeah.
is he knows he's not going to get elected again because he can't. Um, it's because he's just drilling it home to the left that you're not going to win the midterms.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, no. And historically, always the midterm switches the party, but gerrymandering, racism, all of these other things have come up. And now Republicans are like plus 17 seats
I know.
post.
I
Go ahead.
see our viewership still increasing, so I want to add a little nugget for the new viewers. South Carolina on Monday. We want to see if their Senate rhinos have returned an affirmative response to redistricting Clyburn out of existence. I have to admit, I get a chubby thinking about Kingmaker Clyburn being sent out to pasture like Secretariat. I absolutely want that to happen. And I know South Carolina is just like Alabama in terms of Mississippi, sclerotic old rhinos with their business deals and all the rest of that, which just makes my head explode. Indiana thought they were safe too. Yeah, maybe not so much, but
Oh, well,
I
I
know.
guess, but
But
the other
no,
thing,
seriously, the Indiana thing probably has their attention in South Carolina.
oh, it
And
sure
if they
does.
really care about getting reelected, they might vote to do that. So that's the intrigue for Monday. He's coming fresh off rhino removal, a week of rhino removal. And I'm sure the South Carolina rhinos don't want to be next. And that includes you, Lady G.
That's what I was
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
mention. But because Trump has endorsed Lady Graham,
Yeah,
that's going to be an interesting race to watch.
that
Uh,
doesn't mean he's gonna win.
I hope he doesn't, but
No, I know, but I mean, the fact is, Trump endorsed rhinos got voted down Tuesday.
no,
They
that's
did.
true. That's true.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's no guarantee if you're a dirtbag rhino, there's nowhere to, there's nowhere to hide. Yeah. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Well,
You just
no, no,
guys
no.
cannot imagine.
That brings me back to what I was talking about 20 minutes ago.
All
Remember,
right.
because you were here, I was here. Remember the Tea Party Republicans,
Yes.
and we were all super excited about that. And
Yes.
then Paul Ryan just eliminated that. Now you look at 2026, we've already been defeated once by the 2020.
Steal.
All right, and that now here we are, and everybody's looking at it like, no, fuck you. I don't want to live in a socialist country. I don't.
Let me
And
point.
we get into where Elon could fix it later because it's a totally different style of what, but that doesn't happen today. Like
Let me
that happens 10 years from now.
Right. Let me point out a key difference between now and then, and I think it'll make you sleep better, and then I'll sign them. The Tea Party, while they were strong and committed, and I would never say anything against them, they were wholly unsuccessful at removing incumbents.
Right.
And we got the juice now to knock the rhinos out. I can't, okay. You think I hated Mitch McConnell? Oh man, I despise that bastard.
Uh,
But I've got to tell you that as much as I
well,
despise Mitch McConnell,
but everybody will tell you he held up a Supreme Court justice,
yeah, right.
and that's why
Anyway,
he should have gotten 50 years serving as a public
all
Congress.
right, that's fine. And until you realize that he's a turncoat and he was just keeping the seat open for Hillary. But
Who's, oh wait, so he was a Tory.
right, because Merrick Garland wasn't radical enough, and we'd have gotten a Ketanji Brown Jackson instead. Yeah, that's right. Listen, I know what a kind of a snake that. Anyway, I can't think any less of Mitch McConnell than I do, but there's still one rung lower, occupied by Bill Cassidy. All right. I find Bill Cassidy to be a bantam rooster with no soul. All right. Sits there and does the bidding of big pharma and sentences all sorts of Americans to medical hell, votes to impeach Trump. I mean, which McConnell never did. All right. But Cassidy did. Voted to remove Trump from the presidency. That son of a bitch did it. And then for years went on about, oh, he shouldn't run again. We've moved on past this. There's no reason to go with Trump. All right, Bill. Guess what? There's no reason to go on with you. Okay. The point is that when Trump introduced Bobby Kennedy at that Charlie Kirk press conference down there in Arizona, okay, that was the end of Bill Cassidy because
Yes.
he was going to defend Big Pharma until his last breath. And the combination of being a Trump hating impeacher and hating Bobby and Maha and making shit hard for him in the Senate and being an asshole about it got you third as an two-term incumbent, got you third out of the running for a runoff. I'm all into rhino runoff, right?
Well,
In Louisiana. And Bill, I can't tell you, I've never gotten more of a hard on from a political defeat than I did when I saw you went under with no chance of fixing it. I mean, to me, this is even better than Jubilation Tea Corn Pone down in Texas.
one of the things that for years now, since I started this, I know it's a podcast or it used to be a space,
Whatever it was.
but teaching people about political activism was to explain to people that the general election doesn't really matter nearly as much as a primary.
No, no.
And you see this, especially in Kentucky, but
Right.
and it's not me. I didn't do it. Trump did it. Trump said,
That's the point.
primary the fuck out of these people. Get rid
The
of them.
difference between the Tea Party and now is Trump. The Tea Party used to be very proud of the fact that they didn't have a leader because it was grassroots. But the fact is, if you're going to make any difference, you got to have one. All right.
Yeah.
As imperfect as he is, as Bannon says, and as I'll say, and everything else, imperfect vessel, whatever you want to call it, there has to be a standard bearer who sets the agenda. It just does.
Yes, and all I've been bitching about or trying to help people to get, like, there was a lot. I was really involved. Like people would ask me, "Well, how do I become a precinct committeeman in my specific area of Ohio or whatever?" And I
Right.
would look it up. And I would send it back to them, and I'd be like, "Here's how you get involved." I was doing all that, but none of this would have happened if it wasn't
No.
for Trump.
Trump.
They would have just the all of the normal douchebags would have been PCs, and they would have blocked everything
They'd
that's
have blocked
coming.
everything. Right.
And
There
so I felt like I did my part, but you look at it, you go, but I couldn't even have done my part if Trump had not opened the door for me be able to actually tell you, "Oh, yeah, thanks for DMing me," or whatever. I will look up, here's the application you need. You can become a precinct committee man, in your local state of, Kentucky or Indiana or Illinois, and that's how you get rid of
here's
the
all you need.
douchebags.
Here's all you need to do, and then some rhino will shut it down, and you're screwed. Right.
No,
Right.
no, no, true, but at least you get your foot in the door. And
I
this
agree.
would hold on, this would be, in the PNC. So the just the Republican Party, a national committeeman or a local
Right,
committeeman,
right.
and they're like, "Well, but they're forcing me out." I said, "Yes, they're forcing you out.
Of course they are.
That's the people we need to remove. So keep
Yeah.
going, keep
Rhino
going."
removal. You know what? If you guys want to talk about my political long shots, 2028, Spencer Pratt.
Mm.
Don't be shocked if this works. He's got the California bitter wine mob vote. I mean, the dude is a social media champion. Now, I know you need to do more than that, but I've never heard of a reality TV star attaining high political office and becoming very effective. Have you?
Reagan and Trump.
That's it. That's it. So, is this the successor? I mean, how much time does he need to clean up LA before he becomes viable? Because
Well,
I think
what
it'll be pretty quick.
what will be interesting is he's going to go through the same fights
Yes.
politically that Reagan and Trump had to go through.
In the same place as
Yes.
Reagan, as Reagan went to. That's right. With the same vested interests. Yeah, I know. I know. But the point
Yeah,
is
but Spencer Pratt, if he wins, and we hope he wins,
he's
he,
going to.
he one of the cool things he has is social media. He's going to go,
Right.
look, here is how the LA County City Council is fighting me. And he's going to throw it in everybody's faces nationally and globally. And they're getting like,
So
well, who's it'll tell it'd be like it's this chick or it's this dude. He doesn't care.
I
He
don't
is
care.
just like Trump. It's like
Have
fuck
I
you.
have I have I said this to you in person? It's no surprise to anyone that's watched us that we're Rush babies. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, the secret behind the success of Rush Limbaugh, those who wish to denigrate him would always say, well, he's a no talent guy who got fired by the Kansas City Royals or whatever. But the fact is, Rush made a
Oh, he's a
pretty nice.
drug addict.
Right, right, right. Rush made a pretty nice living out of waiting for the mainstream media to ignore things and then highlight them and feature them on his show and then talk about them. And because the mainstream media was afraid to talk about those subjects, they couldn't counter. What were they supposed to say? Well, that's really not true. All they said was he lied, but they'd never tell you how he lied. He even had a full open line Friday where you could call in and tell him how he lied, and nobody ever could do it. Okay. Let me say this, Sean, and I'm proud
Wait.
of
You
this.
got to mention the stack of stuff because he brought evidence.
Yes, he did. I mean, he brought the receipts every day because it wasn't all just obvious to everybody. In a way, Spencer Pratt's job is easier. Everybody sees what's wrong with LA, and everybody knows who's responsible, and they just don't think they can do anything about it. But what Spencer Pratt has done in his AI is to take the jokes that the late night comics never made and to consolidate them
Yes.
into a campaign. That's exactly what he did. And it's funny as hell. And you should actually get on the United Spot on Twitter and watch every single one of those videos. You'll rip your sides out with laughter because it's all so obvious. And yet, according to Colbert and Fallon and Kimmel, everything's great except Trump. It's all shit. And Spencer Pratt is willing to tell you that, and he's willing to say he'll fix it. Can he? I don't know. But I do know this. I know Karen Bass can.
Well, and
And the
that's
depictions and the
that's the whole
depictions of
thing.
Karen Bass and his AI is some of the funniest shit I've ever
Well, a lot of
seen in
all
my
right,
life.
just to be clear, some of these AI guys, they're not necessarily for or against or they don't even live there.
No, I
They're
didn't
just
care.
They're just
Yeah.
really good at what they do, and they see it as this would be good for LA. And so they're doing it, and they're doing it for the good of the people. And you look at it, it's hilarious, it's funny, and it's super super effective. And wouldn't it be fun to see LA switch back to? We all know what the opposition's going to be if he gets elected.
Yes.
I don't really care, but let's get him elected to start and let him just go through the Los Angeles metropolitan government and start gutting it.
Oh, like like uh
They're- They'll
like the
they'll
guy down
they'll
in
hate
Art
that.
Like
They'll
Belay
hate
down in
that even
Argentina,
worse.
just grab a
Listen,
chainsaw. Yeah.
listen. They'll hate that even worse than Elon Musk's Doge.
Easy. They'll forget about Elon. And all the while, the boll weevil Nick Shirley will be chipping away at the welfare state. Sean, we actually have them surrounded now. Trump's still not getting help from Republicans, but the citizen army, Andrew Breitbart's army, has arrived. It has.
I'm glad because
Just in
man,
time.
I,
Uh,
I
isn't that the American story?
well, I was gonna bring up the Battle of Antietam, but I was also because you see the end of Breitbart. The Breitbart story died. It did because of Steve Bannon,
Of
and,
course.
and you guys can all fight me.
No, but
All of you.
citizen journalism didn't die, but Bannon crushed Breitbart. Yeah, both
Oh,
could
he
be true.
fuck, he absolutely crushed. He crushes
O'Keefe
everything he's in.
O'Keefe kept citizen journalism alive the same way the
Why?
Irish
Why
kept
do
alive the
people hate
Bible.
O'Keefe?
I don't have any idea.
He drops bangers every 2 or 3
Oh,
months,
he's great. I'd love to talk to him. I
right?
think I'm an admirer.
And everyone's like, "No, he's a." I I had a couple of phone calls out of I can't tell you who they are, but out of Washington, people that work for the government. And they, yeah, no, Keith's done. I was like, what do you mean he's
Oh
done?
no, he's not.
What do
No,
you
they
mean
think
he's
he's
done?
weird.
Well, he could be weird. We're weird.
Oh no shit.
And yeah,
I mean,
I
I
was
get
on a
told I
phone
get
call with these guys, and they no, no, O'Keefe's done. I was like, what do you mean he's done?
it's not
What do you
done.
mean? What do you mean he's done? He keeps dropping bangers. Like, yeah, no, no, but it's all Russia collusion or something. And I'm like,
Oh come
what
on.
the fuck are you talking
Can't
about?
those guys get into this century? What the fuck is wrong with them?
I don't know. I'm just, I don't know, that's what I heard from Washington.
Okay. Well, obviously they're right there as usual.
Right? I know. I wish I could just smack him on the face and be like, wake up.
Events are going to overwhelm them again, but who knew? Yeah, I mean it's amazing how often they're surprised. And I guess as a final note, I would go back to how unbelievable it is that you could design a system of government in 1776 that could withstand this. All right?
Right.
That there's enough on ramps to power and enough pressure release valves that the place just doesn't blow itself apart. It really is incredible because people feel like if they get engaged, they can do something. Just the same way that Bobby and Maha got involved in Trump's campaign, and I give him a ton of credit. And I don't fault any of the California moms for believing in him, but they're all distracted now with Spencer Pratt, so that'll take some of the pressure off Trump.
No, no, I think like, I know, funny, but if you look at the founding fathers, they were well studied. Everyone's gonna go, well, they didn't even have books. Shut up, you're retarded. And they were the billionaires. They really were
Yes,
like
they
George
were.
Washington. If you just do inflation today, he was a billionaire at the time. He became a president,
Can you imagine a billionaire that would ride into combat?
right? And
I mean,
say
not
and
just
and
combat,
say
but
and say, King, go fuck
Braveheart,
yourself.
Braveheart type combat. With
Right.
with the battle axes and all that shit. Yeah,
Yes, if you look at that, obviously AOC is just retarded, but not retarded on purpose. She knows what sells clicks,
right.
right? And this propaganda, we can.
She has to get more outrageous with her mouth as her waistline expands. Because her dress size isn't going to work as well for her going forward if she keeps eating like a horse or smoking as much pot as she obviously smokes because she's got the munchies.
All right, Andrew
Yeah,
Jack.
you're gonna wrap up there. Yeah.
I gotta wrap up with this. Andrew Jackson is the last time a United States president has skipped his son's wedding.
Yeah. To fight a war.
Oh, is that what you think is going to happen?
No, what happened?
No, I don't know what's going to happen. But all of the internet people are like, "Oh, we're clearly going to go death and destruction on Iran."
Did Trump skip his son's wedding tonight?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
And
so
he went to
Don
oh
Jr.'s
oh
marrying the
he,
socialite?
yeah. Don Jr. is wearing a social. Yeah, absolutely, wearing a socialite. Like,
Yes, he's got yeah,
hold on. What people still don't understand that even in America, and I don't really have a problem with it, but people in America don't understand is that like the British Empire with all of the royalty and all of that that spreads out in power, the earls, the dukes, the
yes,
Trump,
yes,
the Trumps were one of them. The Bushes were one of them.
of course.
The Obamas, no, that was totally different. We'll get into that in a later episode.
Yeah,
But if you just go all the way back to Roosevelt, some of them are almost all of them are cousins of British royalty,
of course they are.
right? Even Trump, but Trump's looking at that and going, well, I don't really give a shit.
Right, right.
I'm gonna be American,
All right, family ties aren't that important. In fact, I'm more akin to William Wallace, right? Yeah,
right?
okay.
William Wallace, what a great story. We should tell
Isn't it?
that. Not just Braveheart, but we should tell the story of William Wallace sometime on the podcast.
Almost feels like we're watching it.
Agreed.
I mean, he's really a lot closer to William Wallace than he's like the Patriot.
I agree. Absolutely
Benjamin,
agree.
yeah, yeah. Because William Wallace was fighting against bureaucracy. Benjamin Martin was just fighting for his family.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's close this one out, man.
All right, brother. Be good.